Hello and welcome back. We took a long little break between our EU and our NA streams, but we are all hydrated up, had a little bit of a meal, and we're ready to hop into NA with our first game. We've got the home team, Kunoichi CGL, facing off against KQA Stinks. Now, I mean, for me personally, Loki, KQA Stinks is a bit of an unknown. I don't really know what they're about. I don't recognize their players, but I mean, Kunoichi CGL, you kind of have to recognize their players. They're the home team. They've got all the advantages, and they're made up of some incredible players. So, a bit of the known team versus a bit of an unknown X factor here today.
Yeah, for KQA Stinks, they do have some players coming from previous teams together. So they do have a little bit of that long-standing chemistry, if you will. We have Bion coming from Wisp Luminera. It's a pretty well-known team. Similar across the board. We've seen a lot of these players on previous teams before they came to KQA Stinks, but KQA Stinks, at least in Kunoichi, a little bit of a known factor at the moment. But if there's a team to kind of have a benchmark match against, it's definitely Kunoichi CGL. They have done an amazing job in past tournaments, an amazing job especially in their Kunoichi home ground tournaments. Last time we had the Kunoichi kickoff, they did an amazing job trying to defend this turf. Now they get to start their bracket run on this exact same adventure. I could not be more excited to see them.
I couldn't either. I mean, you have a star-studded roster, but a star-studded roster that has fallen on some hard times, has had a little bit of struggles in the more recent Calling All Heroes tournaments. So maybe looking to refine their composition and push forward with renewed strength and vigor going into their own tournament, their community tournament, and then put that forward into some later Calling All Heroes success. As, just the roster on Kunoichi CGL, it is full of names that if you have been around Calling All Heroes, you recognize just implicitly. I'm talking Emily, Barcode, ST, SK, Megatron, just many names, just household names throughout this entire scene, and I'm excited to see them square off here today as we just wait, as we get our last few little checks in to make sure that this rocket ship is ready to get going. I'm excited to see this, and I hope that perhaps the past struggles that Kunoichi CGL has seen, the team might be a bit undone here, that they can come into their own and really start a clicking.
Yeah. From, Kunoichi, one of those main people we want to look at, I've got Eevee on main tank. Eevee, an incredibly diverse tank. Got a lot of different tools available at their disposal. Especially good on things like the Ball, on the Orisa, on Junker Queen. They've started flexing more onto Winston, another huge character for them. Going down the roster, with SK, what more can you really ask for? You're gonna get some Lucio, it's gonna be fun, and they're going to absolutely show you what the movement can do on that main support. One of the most fun characters to watch in general in Overwatch, and one of the most fun people to watch on the Lucio. You're looking at SK there for all of the little frog antics that you may want. And it should be very, very exciting. Kunoichi is stacked enough that they've got people like Megatron and AJMR listed as substitutes coming into this one. Like, they really do have everything you could want and more.
That they do. It looks like we've got KQA picking their map now, so we're right, ready, raring to go. We just gotta wait for that map twist to come through. It is higher seed picks, so Kunoichi, we're talking them up a big game, but they are coming in the lower seed. Had some struggles in the group stage in that round robin, but now coming out to the bracket stage looking for a good start. And this is a great place to do it. It's a new day. It is a new stage of this tournament. It is a great time to come into your own, and it is a great time to turn some difficulties that you've had around. And I think one thing that we've both seen, really be an X factor in this tournament is map 3, Flashpoint. Flashpoint is an interesting map type with just how new it is and how the theory crafting is still in this very experimental phase.
Yeah, I really don't know that most teams have been able to figure out what to do with Flashpoint yet. Think about how long it takes most of these high-level teams to integrate a new character, integrating an entire, not new map, but new map type is just that much more of a bigger push. We saw earlier today, really only get 2 fights, maybe 3 if you're really quick about it, on these points. You get the 1 fight to take it, 1 fight to try to retake it. If you lose that one, you're just off on it. But starting out here, it does look like we are going to Nepal. I really like this map type a lot. I feel like these control maps that give you a variety of different map types are really useful in these longer matches, because it lets you see a wide variety of what your opponent can do and how they want to do it. And so it can inform not only what maps you want to choose for the rest of the match, but what comps you want to play and how you want to play into them. Because something like Nepal, you know, it's got those big high grounds, it's got those tight brawly ones, it's got the big off-angle maps, it's got pretty much everything you'll see throughout the game of Overwatch. And so being able to see it right here on map number 1 allows for so much more planning throughout the match. To start us off though, KQA Stink's gonna pull out that traditional Junker Queen brawl. They're bringing the Genji with them as well. Meanwhile, Kunoichi CGL, Eevee on the Orisa. Not a huge surprise there. They got the pretty typical backline backing them off, but before the fight even gets started, Megatron is gone.
And the Carnage will take out the Bastion. That's Kunoichi CGL getting dashed immediately, run over by the Junker Queen.
Yeah, I mean, that's just an amazing start by KQA Stinks there. Throwing the damage right through. No chance, really, for Kunoichi to try to get back into it. Losing your main healer that early on, especially in a brawl comp where you're trying to be all, you know, stacked on top of each other, makes everything so much harder. But KQA Stinks here in a bit of a bad spot as Eevee's taking the fight to him.
God, already 2 picks, just quick as that. The Kiriko gone, and it'll be a quick retake with some great Orisa play to force some bad positioning from Kunoichi and from Eevee.
Eevee there doing a great job, is taking the fight straight through. That's the aggression that we really want to see from, you know, these brawls Orisa comps. Taking the Orisa, a very self-sufficient, very hard-hitting tank, and just driving him straight through the enemy team, splitting everyone wide open and creating opportunities for something like your Sojourn. Exactly what you want.
Oh, and the Genji's gone. KQA are just getting destruction rained down on top of them by this Bastion, but they lose their Baptiste. They lose Megatron again, and that hero disaster for Kunoichi. SK gone, and KQA might not even need the Kitsune. They're gonna launch it in just to really ensure the white win. Eevee's gonna get taken down, and it'll be KQA flipping it right back.
Yeah, this is going to bring them to relatively even times with this. As the ults start to charge up here, this is really just going to be turning these next couple of fights. KQA Stinks going to be pulling up on that Rampage. They've got a support ult on their back foot. Meanwhile, Kunoichi with the DPS ults in a window to help him out here. Window would be huge trying to get out of this room, and that's exactly what's going to be put down. But the Rampage in.
Rampage catches all 5 members of Kunoichi CGL, and that is just all she wrote. Team kill for KQA.
An incredibly quick fights from both teams here. Normally, we'll see like 5 total fights for something like in Control Point. This time, we're seeing 5 fights before either team has really even tried to pull away from the other. Both of them about halfway through on this capture.
The Kiriko gets taken down
on the Bastion.
Emily just hit a massive shot on the artillery form, but Megatron's gone. It's the slash, the dash from the Genji of KQA Stink, just going wild in the backline, finding both support. Kunoichi CGL is struggling. Emily trying to stay alive, but it is that Genji just going wild. Trying to pick up the Lucio Eevee. Eevee, though, is really doing well, but can they survive this? Genji gets a 1v1, and Eevee somehow gets it. I think it was 4 kills for the Orisa. Got it.
Yeah, I gotta love the help from the Megatron there, and that was a must-win 1v1, or 1.5, you know. Megatron came in at the end there by Eevee. As time was ticking down, the point had to flip. Kunoichi CGL have to hold this through the rest of it. And they are building up ults to help that, but look at this. Emily onto the Tracer now. They had to switch to contest.
Now they have to switch to because they have the ult, they have the overclock, and they're gonna launch it. He has one of the few ults from that Kunoichi. Really important that they don't die early. The pick onto the Tracer is huge. There's the Terra Surge into the back line, but a perfectly timed Suzu negates it all. The Genji goes down, and Eevee has a great shot. There goes SK, a great shot. Kitsune Rush thrown in from Megatron, trying to keep it in the hands of Kunoichi. But the overtime wick is burning, and it burns ever so quick. The beat to keep up everyone on KQA, the rampage rolling through too. And Kunoichi CGL cannot hold on for long. Round 1 to KQA.
Yeah, I think that one really comes down to those late fight support ults from KQA. Being able to throw those out after Kunoichi has used theirs just means the sustain can last that much longer. You know, that great play by Megatron there, trying to keep everyone alive, keep it all moving. Not gonna end up working out though. KQA stinks. They just look so strong in that frontline position, being able to run through, you know, those big, huge rampages that Street Lord keeps putting out time and time again, are just tearing through Kunoichi CGL right now, and it's making it almost impossible for, you know, someone like Eevee to really stand in the KQA side and do work. Here, though, there's a lot more chance for off angles, there's a lot more chance for different types of engagements to be done, and so it'll be interesting to see how the teams react to that.
Now, really aggressive here from Eevee, pushing forward to try and take this angle, as SK had to go back to catch up with Barcode. But what a shot to take out the Sojourner, but it's just not enough. Eevee and Emily are gone, and this fight over on the left side was won handily by KQA, and they're going to take aggressive positioning in that inner room.
Yeah, keep it all tight here, even with, you know, the presence of the opportunity to go on these off-angle things. KQA stinks right now, just sticking it to the hammer strategy. Make Kunoichi the anvil and hammer straight through right now, making sure that they all stay tight and together to slam in. The only thing that's a little bit different is having, you know, the one Bion off on the Hanzo, but still, they're looking real strong and together right now.
They are switching on to this Junker Queen. Eevee switching it up, not playing Urissa anymore. A lot of damage going in onto Street Lord. Can they find a confirm? They take out the Kiriko using the Junker Queen as almost bait, and they'll take them out later. SK, though, gets Lucio Div thrown off the side, but Kunoichi will win the points.
Yeah, I think Kunoichi did a really good job there of recognizing that KQA kind of ended up in that middle ground area where you don't want to be, not fully holding the bridge and not fully holding the spawn door. And Eevee did a great job there of rushing up, cutting off Street Lord from the rest of the team and being able to take him out.
And now they're pushing through. The rampage takes 2, but the beat will be there in response. Kitsune Rush from Megatron, and Kitsune Rush in response from KQA, just dropping it in, trying their best to stay alive. Pardon, that was a beat. KQA has 2 ults, ready to use them to re-engage on this. They haven't lost too much. They've got a chance here to right the ship.
Coming in, it's going to start being that time where things get changed! Fifi! Pull it out quickly!
That's both supports with 1 slash of the sword. What a way. Fifi rights the ship in incredibly quick fashion.
And what a pace changer right there from Fifi as well. Everyone's getting set up for the next fight. We're getting ready. We're starting to think about it. Fifi says no, charges in before anybody's ready for it. Completely catches Kunoichi off guard. And now look at them already stalking here. But Emily off on the off angle, trying to find their own little surprise.
Barcode hits a nice headshot onto KQA, onto that Lucio, just taking them down. Kitsune Rush and the Rampage coming in from both sides, but there's the slash, there's the dash from Emily. Takes 3, looking for more, but will not find it. Bion takes 2. They find another. They need more than just 2. They need something bigger. They get a good shot onto Eevee, but Kunoichi will take this point with a recontest potentially coming soon.
Yeah, it looks like next fight's probably going to be what decides this. Kunoichi either gets to survive for a little bit longer, or KQA going to take it right here as the clock is ticking upwards of 60% for Kunoichi CGL.
Ash trying to find this Hanzo. Emily just needs a little bit more. The Rampage doesn't go through the door. Oh, Eevee just goes completely to the side. That's a disaster for Kunoichi. That was one of their big ults, and it's just gone, Loki. The sustain that could have given Eevee could have helped so much, but instead it is SK to die alone on the point, and Kunoichi scattered to the winds.
Yeah, I think Eevee knew that what they had the moment there. You can see them the moment they missed it starting to change to maybe get ready for the recontest here as the Kunoichi rush is here.
Yeah, the Kitsune Rush thrown in, but the Beat's there to try and counteract it. That Beat usually not doing too good, but SK gets hit with Gracie and just chucked into the open to die as the overtime wick burns down. Kunoichi trying to stay alive. There's the Rampage, catches 2, and KQA take a solid 2-0 on map 1 and send Kunoichi to match point.
Yeah, I really love the pace of the game that KQA is putting out right now. It feels like the moment one fight's done, they're already gone to the next one, just trying to push their advantage over and over and over. But the thing I really want to bring attention to, I love the tank play. I always think it makes a huge difference here, and Street Lord absolutely embodying that message right now. They are opening up so much space for the rest of their team. The huge rampages are there every time. The pressure is there every time. Other than one fight, we've seen them connected to their team every single time. And even when they get, find their little bit of a way, might be disconnected, the team of KQA Stinks is built around being able to go help them. They've got the Kiriko right there, able to teleport in, get the Suzu down, get everyone back out, recollect, and just keep the pressure on. KQA Stinks right now is all about pressure. Every single movement they make is pushing into Kunoichi CGL. We've seen teams before in this tournament that work really, really well at pushing in really hard, at pulling back, regrouping, getting back together, and then putting another attack in. KQA Stinks hasn't heard the meaning of the word retreat. They don't know it. They don't want to know it. They are all about pushing W into the other team and keeping that pressure on until someone on Kunoichi makes a mistake. And then they use these quick DPS to immediately capitalize on it and cut off any chance of escape.
That they do, and we've seen Kunoichi really suffer this. I have to wonder, what do they want to play? What is the game? What is the strategy? What is the composition that they can play that will really bring them above KQA? Is it going to be a dive map? Are we going to see Hollywood? Is it going to be a pure brawl map and we're going to see something like Kings of Row? What do they need to do to feel a bit more comfortable? Because it just seemed like the entire time it was Kunoichi reacting to KQA, and we have Kings Row as our second and potentially final map. Interesting choice here from Kunoichi. Why do you think that they chose that?
I mean, I think it's a comfort pick. Kunoichi, they've got a really good brawl setup. Eevee's really on the brawl. You've got SK really experienced on the Lucio. Bring it together, get everything ready for that stacked on top of each other gameplay. I gotta say though, I almost wish we saw something like Hollywood here in order to get that dive involved. Because if you're getting just pressured out from everything you've been able to do, you're getting just aggressioned out. The way that you fix that is becoming more fluid, more open, more ready to change, which isn't something that we normally attribute to a brawl comp. Usually when you're pushing in until you've used all your resources and you're ready to leave. Usually you're taking the fight to them because those resources are sustained. You've got to make use of them immediately. With something like dive though, it lets your mobility breathe life into the rest of your comps. You can kind of, be like water and swim to the easiest path. With brawl's a hammer. It's a blunt instrument. You're striking them with power, trying to put it through. And right now, KQA's got the stronger hammer. They've been able to break the anvil of Kunoichi time and time again, leading into King's Row. So if Kunoichi's gonna win King's Row, I would love to see them adapt a much more fluid style of brawl. And that looks like what we might be seeing from them with Eevee put on the Winston right now. I think that's a great choice because that does. Oh well, or the Orisa, one of the two.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Eevee,
I don't think that's what
yeah, I like the monkey. You know, it does bring a lot more fluidity to it. The SK Megatron backline as well, great. That's a very, very solid backline, able to take a lot and dish it right back out. I love barcode on the Genji here. The only thing that's I'm a little bit wishy-washy on is Emily as the Bastion, but Bastion on King's Row is just a great standard pick. And at the end of the day, it looks like Eevee going on to the Orisa. We're going to see power versus power once again. This time, though, SK bringing another little bit more power to the table.
Yeah, I like the Symmetra. Using the sim to reposition the Bastion to unexpected positions is always a strong choice, especially getting high ground against a composition like KQA, who really struggle to maintain high ground control. The Junker Queen having to rotate underneath, and it's exactly what we're seeing here. As now Phoebe on the Genji, trying to find a good dash through, but they're going to get engaged right on top of by Eevee. And so now KQA have to either cede point control or just get fired on from the high ground for time and time again. They are stuck between a rock and a hard place. They need to find some early picks. There comes the engage with the Junker Queen, but they lose their Sojourn immediately. Junker Queen pushing through, trying to stay alive, but so much damage being put out. The sustain needs to be perfect. The Baptiste goes down, and so does the Kiriko, but the Orisa's a little more self-sufficient, and so that Junker Queen will fall, and Kunoichi will take first point.
Yeah, I really like that positioning from Kunoichi to be like in that hallway right next to point, really bunching up there. Because what you really want to do for the disengagements when someone incredibly strong like a Junker Queen is coming at you is you want to move from that open space to closed space. What that does is it not only groups your entire team up, everyone can get hit by the Baptiste heals, everyone can get hit by the MO, but it makes it so that there's no escape for Street Lord when she tries to leave.
That it does. Now pushing through one of the hardest chokes in the game. Very difficult, but they have some new things to do. They have the rally, they have the Terra Surge, and they have the amplification matrix. This amp needs to be big because it's facing off against 4 and 8, 5 ults from KQA, but the first pick is already in, taking it in solidly. There's the Bastion coming in from Emily. She is rolling right through, pushing through one of the hardest chokes in the game like it's no thing.
Yeah, and good ult economy to boot there. Only 2 ults used and still 3 more up. 1 ult from each role. That's a really economical fight there to set you up for future success. Granted, KQA is coming in this with 4 ults. They're just missing out on the tank one. But if Kunoichi can control the pace of this fight, take it in first, use the first ult here, get a good window, that could utterly change the pace of this and snowball into much more.
Yeah, Eevee looking for that Terra Surge, looking for that amplification matrix to stagger into it and really go off. Really looking to draw out ults as well, and they've got the Kitsune rush from Cade on the side of KQA, looking for just a little more. As that Sojourn on the high ground, going to take advantage. Now with the DPS ults swinging through, finds the Baptiste immediately. And that'll be enough for 1 DPS ult, maybe even more, but they're going to get rushed down. SK taking out the Yukio KQA, and Kunoichi, despite losing that Baptiste, are sitting in fairly good position. Beefy gonna go down, and there goes the Junker Queen. This point is going to get completed.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm really surprised there. The moment I saw both of the DPS ults get used, I was like, ooh, I don't know if you want to keep putting more ults into this fight. I don't know if you want to keep putting resources into this. That's a really big take to try to get through that. But Kunoichi says no. They stay strong in this point. They come into this fight, use less ults, and still come out on top. Just because of how well they were able to split the team and position around what resources they had.
Yeah, and now coming into this next fight, Kunoichi on a snowball, using the artillery from Emily. It has been pretty solid before. Can it find anything else? It looks like it will just do some damage. Shido nearly going down. Those supports of KQA nearly going down. That could have been a huge loss, but there's the peak. Shido responded with a rally from SK Megatron nearly going down, but Fleetwood for fall. And Emily on the Bastion, getting that protection from the rally, gonna take this TP and really going aggressive with this Orisa and bully the Ashe into the corner and take her out. Well, should take her out. The Terra Surge in the backline will draw in the Ashe just incredibly well. A split up fight, so it's not going to be a point completion just yet. The amplification matrix over top won't do KQA a darned thing. Orisa slopped KQA, going to get them a kill onto SK. Dragon Strike will find them one, but it will not get them the stall. An impressive push from Kunoichi CGL, saying they are not out of this match just yet.
Yeah, I really think that comes down to that fight right before third point, right at the end of Streets, where, you know, we were talking about if Kunoichi wins this one, they set themselves up for a complete snowball onto point 3. They set themselves up with all the momentum, set themselves up with all the pace, and that's exactly what happened. The moment they got point 3, the moment they captured point 3, using less ults, using less resources, setting themselves up better for that third point, they were able to just streamline through the next one. They already have all of their positioning set up. They already have all of their ult economy set up. They have everything they need to just keep it moving and snowball through the rest of the map. And that's exactly what happened there. I really do want to put my hat off to Barcode right now, doing a great job not only positioning the team, but setting up such traps for KQA Stinks to walk through. They're doing a really, really good job of not just, putting the damage on and positioning the team, but forcing the position of KQA Stinks to react in a way that works well for Kunoichi. Either just slowing them down and keeping people in a part where Eevee can take a look at them, or completely cutting off different paths and forcing them into like a cone of vision for the rest of Kunoichi to just rain in fire.
Now Street Lord coming out on the Zarya might be the answer to this Kunoichi composition. Kunoichi, they're going to be holding on to this high ground, but putting such a priority onto it of really keeping control of the high ground and not really letting it go. But they'll start the fight on the low ground. DP on the Junkrat going to dish out the bomb from on high and get the pick onto Emily like 5 seconds after their last bomb, but the TP up is going to absolutely shred the long range heroes of KQA. What a great bait and switch from Kunoichi.
I do like this DPS change from KQA Stinks. For a team that's relying on the sim, you're going to see everyone built up together really, really strongly, just because, you don't want to take the teleporter together. And being able to put in a ton of area damage against a team like that is really, really useful. And now Fifi is just trapped behind everyone else, doesn't really have a way out of this one. And so Kunoichi can take this fight basically 4v5.
It's just stuck in the backline. Someone go save Private Fifi. Oh, Fifi's gone. Barcode finally dispatches them. Oh boy, what a goofy thing. Oh, Fifi, she tried her darndest to be on a flank, but it didn't work out. Going on to the Reaper now. Already that Baptiste's going to get taken out, and some headshots coming through from PD onto that Zarya. The grab, but it'll be the Zarya, it'll be Street Lord first to fall, and Kunoichi just looking so different from the team that we saw walk into map 1.
Yeah, I mean, the disadvantage of playing a team like this on King's Row should be the lowered mobility, should be the inability to disengage, should be the inability to cover high ground. But Barcode is doing such a good job on Sim that it just doesn't matter at all. And so you see Eevee here able to take just such a strong spot and not have to worry about anything that's coming towards him.
Oh, the artillery coming in and Kate's out too! Oh my gosh, Emily Bastion is just an absolute mad. And Kunoichi takes out some insane plays. Eevee picking up some for themselves.
Yeah, that felt a bit desperate from KQA there. Really late beat coming through, trying to win on the 3v5. Not gonna happen. KQA sinks down, making some changes. I do like the Tracer. Far Mercy, I mean, hey, if you've got 1 minute left, try something new, and this might just be the idea.
Yeah, throw something goofy at the wall.
Oh, never mind.
But what an amplification matrix onto the Bastion. Emily just dishes out the damage, and the Doomfist coming in, trying to stay alive, but Emily is just there to dish out the Gatling gun of damage. How incredible is this?
I mean, hey, what is Bastion but, you know, incredibly strong hit scan? That's just mean, SK,
Yeah,
no! You can't do it to him! That's just, oh god!
Oh, you know she had to do it to Doom. You know she had to do it. Wow. Alright. What a turnaround here. KQA just looking a bit lost now against this competition. Kunoichi overtime slowly burning down. They need something here, and the Doomfist losing their life immediately is not a good one. SK flanking around, finds the Tracer, playing this Brig like it's release Brig, and just erasing the Tracer. 3-0 shutout on King's Row for Kunoichi CGL.
Yeah, amazing play there all around. I gotta say, I love that once KQA switched to the Pharah, you saw all of the resources suddenly going around the Bastion to put them in a position where Emily, where Emily could fight against the Pharah. You know, they just kept throwing resources her way. They kept giving her opportunities. You know, with that big Bastion window to just put out all the damage. You don't have to be in the line of sight very long because the Pharah would just be dead. Barcode, throwing up the sim wall so that, you know, she had all of the room, all of the space that she could need to just continue to pump in damage, keep the skies clear, and this lets the rest of the team breathe as well. SK able to go cover the flanks, you know, not be in the far line of sight, able to shut down tracers. You see Eevee able to sit on the point much more effectively than they were before. All around an amazing showing by Kunoichi, and an amazing adjustment on something that we weren't sure they were going to be able to adjust to very well.
Yeah, and now we have the biggest question mark of them all. We've been talking about it all day. We're going to map 3, and we're going to the ever so confusing Flashpoint. So we have only seen Saravasa thus far for the Flashpoint maps that we have seen, at least today, through the EU bracket.
Yes.
If whatever map we go to, you have to wonder if this Orisa composition from Kunoichi CGL works on that map. Is it going to be enough to push them through and be the difference maker and send them to the next round?
Yeah, so for Saravasa, you know, that's one we've been seeing a lot. That one is much more locked down, tight in, compressed, boxing match kind of map. Whereas going to New Junk City, there's still a lot of areas that are compressed, but overall it is much more open. We don't see nearly as many sites where it's just completely walled off for everything else. You got to enter one standalone room, fight exactly what's in front of you. Where, meanwhile, New Junk City, significantly more open, allows for a lot more mobility, a lot more off angles, a lot more ability to kind of stretch your wings and fly. And at the moment, honestly, I think Saravasa is probably the pick for KQA, just because we've seen them perform better on the maps that are locked down. Like Nepal, they were able to much more fight through those close quarter situations. Kunoichi, rather, making a lot more of an advantage of making teams run at them through long sight
Mhm.
lanes or just crashing through on aggression, catching their opponents in bad rotations. Bad rotations aren't really a thing you have to worry about on this map type. We're much more worried about team fight, locked in, head-to-head boxing match kind of style. And I think KQA's advantage most comes from sticking with that map type advantage.
Completely agree. I think also, I think that for Kunoichi, the good thing about this is that you have a very good Lucio player, and Lucio
Yes.
is pretty widely regarded as Lucio is a must pick. So, I mean, having a good Lucio player like SK is invaluable on this new map type. But my question is, this might come down to who has scrimmed it more,
Yeah.
because with how new Flashpoint is to the map pool of most competitive tournaments, I know personally, I have casted, I think 3 maps of Flashpoint, and 2 have been today.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a pretty new mode. And if one team has scrimmed it 5 times and the other team has scrimmed it 25 times, that might just be the advantage, to have a little bit more familiarity with how the map is played and not make mistakes that I'm sure in a year from now we would think of as rookie mistakes, but
Mhm.
stuff that we aren't so solid on as a community with this new game mode and with all of its different quirks and different interactions with map selection, with different points when to engage, when not to engage, when to try and trigger overtime on a flashpoint, when to try and position yourself better for the next upcoming flashpoint. These things are still up in the air right now, and teams are taking a lot of risks when perhaps they shouldn't, and sometimes they pay off and sometimes they don't. I remember, I think one of the games we had today, a team came in looking down against on a flashpoint that was ticking up around 90%. They won that fight and started a really great snowball. So what might seem like a mistake in a year's time is something that we are just now discovering. We are in the wild west of Flashpoint right now. So there's a lot that can happen, and experience, even smaller differences in experience, are going to be massive here.
With all of that, though, it does look like we're going to New Junk City as the map type. So we're not getting, that super locked in kind of style. We are going to open it up just a little bit more. I think this keeps this map a lot more even than it was before. Outside of, the arena, a lot of these maps still have very open areas. They still have very open sightlines. Finery is another one that's a little bit more trapped in, but overall we are looking at that kind of wider area. So I would not at all be surprised if we found this one being a lot more 50-50 than the map type would suggest.
Agreed. And for Flashpoint, it does come down to a few fights. These maps and these points go so much quicker than your average control point. So just building up a few ultimates, how fast you use them, and how effective they are, the value that you need to get out of your ultimates in Flashpoint is skyrocketed and is so important.
And here we are, New Junk City. Welcome to the arena. We're getting right into it. No pause, no freeze. Junker Queen coming out from KQA Stinks, coming back to their home turf. Meanwhile, the invading Eevee on Orisa, trying to steal the New Junk City away from Queen.
And Eevee already drawing, having that immortality drawn out. SK Sting on the break with an interesting pick and already going down. via a great shot from the Sojourn, a second one to take out Emily on the Bastion. And now Kunoichi is going to be chased down. They'll lose their Kiriko, so a recontest could be very successful later, but they need to get out of here now.
Yeah, I'm amazed that they're keeping this fight going. EV trying to find an escape. I don't know that they're really going to be able to. Oh, nope, as I say that, their support is here. So maybe a quick recontest coming through from Kunoichi now. They've got to drop down into the arena to try to find it, though.
At this point is especially tough, as they really do want to try and maintain point control, because they aren't going to win this rotation game with not having Lucio with SK on the break. They want the point control that they need to see the high ground for. It's a tough ask for Kunoichi, so they are just they're staying a bit in between here. They have the Sim TP to rush through, the amplification matrix to throw in, but the rotation is beautiful from KQA, and the amplification matrix just stays a glowy rectangle in the middle of nowhere. And now it's a fight on the point. Eevee over toward the side, looking to take some position over on the point to contest this flashpoint. About to tick over for KQA. Kitsune Rush coming in on the side of KQA. There's the beat from Shidu on the side of KQA, trying to keep them alive. All of the ults coming out at this point. A great wall to counteract the ult of this Sojourn to try and keep Kunoichi safe from some headshots. SK uses the rally, but can she stay alive for all of it? No, she can't. She's gone. And that heralds disaster for Kunoichi. The blade slices through the immortality field of Kunoichi, and that will be a solid performance from Bion, taking out 3, and Flashpoint won solidly for KQA.
Yeah, definitely one of the longest Flashpoint fights I've ever seen. That one just kept going and going and going. Here as we load up onto the next point, though, both teams almost completely reset in ultimates. Only Kunoichi's going to be bringing a little bit more into this equation. And it does look like it's going to be KQA getting there first, actually. That's one of the disadvantages you get of taking these Flashpoint fights so long, is it allows the winning team to set up on the next point rather than the losing team. When you all die, you gotta stay in spawn. You can't be walking to the next point when you're in spawn, now can ya?
No, you can't. You have to use some abilities to push through, but that's a really good one. The picks are all coming through. A great amplification matrix from Kunoichi and from Megatron, transforming into a solid backline.
Yeah, once again, Kunoichi winning their fights very, very economically here. Only spending 2 ults. I thought they only spent the one Baptiste ult. I forgot that they opened up. So 2 ults on the board, but they are leading up to that Orisa ult once again. If they can get that early and swim into the backline, that could be dividends paid very quickly, trying to keep this going as KQA is 1/3 of the way to a match victory.
That they are, and already Emily goes down. The immortality field doing them no help, and even a pick onto the Lucio will not save them, as the Junker Queen of KQA is just ready to wreak havoc. An incredible try there from Kunoichi, but they cannot keep it going. The flip comes through for KQA.
Yeah, so next fight wins the point. This one's going to be one of the rare 3-fight flashpoints going down here. As we see everyone set up once again, all across the board, KQA is reloaded, ready to go.
Yeah.
Ultimate's looking very strong. Kunoichi, on the other hand, hope that's a good Lucio beat. SK, we're believing in ya if you're a Kunoichi fan. As this point ticks up very quickly, Kunoichi's not really under any pressure here to start this fight sooner than whatever else. Whoever wins this fight's going to win the point regardless. But every second that it goes by is one more that point percentage can just tick.
And it is the Kitsune Rush, the opening ult for KQA. SK holds on to the beat, trying to use it for the best moment economically to be aggressive and defensive. The beat has to come out, though, in response to the Sojourn ult. So KQA has some free ults, and SK still dies to the Sojourn ult. Right at the end, the last shot takes her out, and Kunoichi CGL has lost another flashpoint. They need to be perfect if they want to continue on in the upper bracket.
Yeah, we need to see a reverse sweep here from Kunoichi ZGL. Got to get 3 in a row for this one. Not what we're looking for. If you're a Kunoichi fan, KQA Stinks looking to close this one out. All they need is 2 more fight wins, and that will send them on to the next point of the winner bracket and send Kunoichi CGL down to the losers.
Oh, but they find the pick onto the Lucio. That's a huge one. Lucio just goes in a bit too deep, and KQA there without their rotation, they can just get run over. And Kunoichi might have just won this flashpoint without a single ult. And the shoes on the other foot for KQA. They have a very, very big bag of ultimates for Kunoichi, and KQA don't have much of anything.
Yeah, I mean, Kunoichi has to be extremely smart with their ultimate rotation from this point on. They can't just spend all of their ultimates for one fight win. They need to keep things steady. If they spend too much, it won't matter. Sure, they'll win this fight, but they're not going to win the next one. And so Kunoichi here has to be eating really, really lean. They have to ration out these abilities and ultimates for the rest of the match. Meanwhile, KQA is looking to eat at a buffet.
Yeah, they need anything they can. There's the Rampage coming out from KQA. It's 2 in. The Blade from Emily's not going to find much of anything. 3 caught in the Rampage, but it's Eevee getting taken down. Really great shots from Fion, taking out 2. Now it is just Barcode looking for a clutch play. Finds the pick onto the Junker Queen. Dashes up, throws in the repulsor shot, but can't stay alive fully. The flip goes in for KQA, and that was an expensive fight, Loki.
Yeah, remember we were talking about they got to win lean? That time they didn't even lose lean. Kunoichi spending everything and not getting anything for it. Meanwhile, KQA still ramped up, reloaded, ready to go, and there's the Kitsune Rush trying to set him up.
That it is. That could be the last ultimate here. Kunoichi does have a really good time bank here. The overtime wake is burning down for them, but they need to win this fight. SK uses the beat aggressively. They're trying to get it, but the Emily goes down already. They can't find it. The pick does go back through, but it's SK gone. Genji does get taken out. Now onto the Kiriko, trying to keep their supports alive. Throws out the Suzu. Just a few more moments. One more fight could be all KQA needs. Kunoichi, the beat comes out from KQA, and the pick comes through. The Rampage from Eevee, trying anything desperately, trying to hold on, but they cannot. Point flips over to KQA.
Yeah, that was a really good job by Kunoichi to flip the point at the beginning of the fight. So no matter what, one more lease on life. We saw the ever rare 3-point or 3-fight point of Flashpoint. Now we get to see the ever rare 4-point or 4-fight point on Flashpoint for Kunoichi. They just keep managing to extend this a little bit longer, a little bit longer, a little bit longer, but here we have reached the do or die. Kunoichi, not really any ultimates on the table. They can build some up, but they have to play it smart. Meanwhile, KQA can strike first. They need to find the dagger quickly because we've seen that Kunoichi can build momentum as it goes on.
Here's the Kitsune Rush coming out. Megatron, both blades from both Genjis. Who's going to appear in the kill feed first? It's going to be Emily, but another comes in from KQA, and they're finding more than one. They've got 2, and now it's Emily needed again to come up with a clutch play, but cannot. The overtime wick burns, and so too does Kunoichi's run in the upper bracket. They will have to make a Cinderella run if they want a chance to defend their turf.
Yeah, I think KQA did a really, really good job there. I don't want to give credit to their supports, doing such a good job at just not ever dying. That sounds like a bit of a weird thing to compliment, but support, your very first job is to be alive, to be able to provide support wherever you can, to make the DPS overextend to try to get you, to force teams out of position to get you away from everything else. And KQA did a really good job of that. Credit to KQA's support line there. Fifi, absolutely insane. We got to see, Street Lord. She's been ridiculous throughout this entire match. But I think KQA's support line really is what deserves the credit for this win after an insane job that they did.
Truly, truly KQA support line. And you gotta know, we're talking about Cheetah, we're talking about Kaide, insane in the membrane support characters. And I mean, showing up Kunoichi at their own tournament, sending them to the lower bracket immediately. Incredibly good play against some incredibly well-known names. Hats off to KQA. They'll be moving right on to, I believe it is the upper bracket quarters or maybe the semis. I'm not sure.
Yeah, with
We'll be moving on.
they'll be moving on. With that, we'll be moving on as well. I think that's it for me today. I believe that's it for you as
That's
well.
it for both of us today.
Okay,
We're going to
Wang.
be
So-
handing it over very soon to our favorite casters, Tiny Shiny on the play-by-play, and Chef Billy coming in on the color cast. That'll be quite a treat for you. But I mean, Loki, before we head out, is there anything that you want to say before we hand it off to Tiny and Billy?
I gotta say, hats off to our producers. Thank you to Meilu for helping us out. Thank you to Rhino, I believe, earlier, doing a great job making sure we sound good, look good, and play good. With that, though, I've been Loki. That's been K-Wing. I know my directions. Have a good night, everybody. We'll be right back with more Overwatch action.
Goodbye.
We are having fun already here on the set here at the Kunoichi Kerfuffle. I'm Chef Billy. To my other side is one of my besties, Tiny Shiny. We are about to throw down. Yep, here in the upper bracket, we're going to get a team that we saw yesterday in the Vancouver Titans Blue. They're going up against Fable with a couple of fabled names, one of them being CGL alumnus, Z Panther. I know them from the Elk Gaming days, and also before them, I have actually played against Z Panther before. And then Avery, the main tank player, or now just the tank player from Bellevue University. So, I mean, lots of talent here on this fabled team. And, the Vancouver Titans are going to have their work really cut out for them here as they are up in the upper bracket, trying to keep their upper bracket tournament lives live.
Yeah, the Vancouver Titans Blue actually faced a forfeit this morning, so they're coming into this fresh off of this. So, Fable, maybe they have an advantage just having, it was Fable that faced the forfeit. VTB have been waiting for this match to be completed. Thank you, Chef Billy. I have the bracket in front of me, but apparently I forgot how to read it. So, you know what? It happens. It's a great way to start the day, as a matter of fact. VTB, I do know for a fact that some of their players are warmed up. For example, I watched her play for Grandview University earlier on their stream. I believe it was against UST. Took it to map 5 to lose it at the very last. It was very painful. I really did feel that for you. Put up a really good fight, and here she is, ready to bring that star power back to the Kunoichi Kerfuffle. And, we got to see Vancouver Titans Blue, but yesterday, Billy, they had quite unique ideas of how to play the game in this current meta, and a lot of it ended up working out to their favor.
I mean, we did go to 3 maps with them yesterday, and the Valiant Guardians did take that 2-1. But we're going to start out on Busan, so, we're going back to Korea here, and we saw this Vancouver Titans Blue team actually win on Busan. They lost, They lost Sanctuary and then came back Mecha Base and won it like 100-88, and then they just completely stomped on downtown. It ended up being a C9 win for them. They took it out. We were both groaning in our skins, but we'll see how these two teams, they are ready to go. We are going to Busan first, so is Spinar going to try and force the Wrecking Ball as much as they did yesterday? Because that was something that really, quite honestly, I didn't understand it at times. I know what they were trying to accomplish, Tiny, is they were trying to get all that disruption, but the X's and O's just did not line up. Now, we'll see if that's going to be a different story here as we head into our first map.
I thought it was very interesting how they just force this Wrecking Ball into gameplay. And, Spinor right here, still pulling it out. You got Phone and Harley Quinn now know what in for the Symmetra. So a new DPS player coming to the line on arguably the hero that requires some of the most synergy to come through to set up these plays. And I want to see Harley Quinn help their team get along before they lose players such as Claire. If you wait too long, Fable is going to go ahead and collapse. All you need to do, get the commanding shout out and run them down.
I mean, it's instantaneous, little spark of health too, and it really takes a lot of the pressure off of the back line. So, I mean, there's still contests going on right now. Spider, we know, can actually fight very well here, and is very self-sufficient. Really holds up their regenerative shielding that comes up. They're actually going to capture the point after that first take, just because Spider didn't want to give up.
That's the advantage you have of running the Wrecking Ball, right, Billy? Is that you could just scoot in and out of these fights. You're going to contest it and get the pick onto Arya. So this has suddenly turned from something Vancouver Titans Blue should have lost into a very winnable situation. I mean, look where Phone is set up right now. The Vancouver Titans Blue, this is what they do to their opponents. They overwhelm them. They confuse them by setting up at so many different angles. They don't know who or what to look at all, and it leaves Fable in such a devastating spot.
I mean, it's once again the Symmetra strategies. We saw what really performed it to perfection yesterday. And I mean, Dirigol coming in here for Avery in the tank position, not who we were expecting to see here. So, I mean, maybe a little bit of synergy issues going on right now. You know, and looking at what we've got coming in from Harley Quinn, you know, we saw them, we saw what yesterday having a really good day. Now they have this going on again. I'm looking for these same strats. They were really hard to deal with. Once they started getting that time going, that's a huge minefield.
Yeah, the minefield coming out. I mean, that's going to split Fable up, and that's the last thing you want to be with the way that your team is playing. I mean, Arya has been taking the majority of the beating here. Vancouver Titans Blue have done a great job of isolating her, not allowing her to get any value for the team. And, you know, BTB easily going to take up that player advantage and ensure that they can recover, keep themselves on the point. The photon barrier is helpful, but melees don't exactly get blocked by a giant blue shield. Fable wanting to fight this one out, and you kind of have to at the point where the time is at. They're going to end up getting the flip over without any of those major ults used aside from the sound barrier.
I mean, sound barrier just keeps them up into it. Now you're going to go up against Saffrona's sound barrier coming into this next fight, so they do have options. They've also got the artillery strike, which I think will section off Fable, and then they're going to go in on the back of a sound barrier engage and just wipe the floor with Fable. Fable's going to be very, very diligent about holding their choke points and catching these rotations from this teleporter.
Between the teleporter and Spinor both, I mean, you need to be watching all around you, like have a 360 scope going on at all times. But the problem is you go in so deep, the Vancouver Titans Blue, the remaining 4 players are left off on their own. Or Chomp just chomping through that sound barrier that was put out to negate the blade. And Fable, they're making that work with just the 2 ultimates they have, conserving their resources.
I love it. I love it. They hold on to their rush as well. That's a big takedown. Yep. I mean, you've got speed to get back, Mitsuji. You also can, use the swift step to get yourself back. I mean, that's not that big of a loss. And the fact that they did it on the back of the blade only. I mean, they started with Rampage and winning with the blade after that. Force the sound barrier out, completely ruins the economy of the Titans Blue.
They don't have anything to work with at all right now. I mean, Fable, they're still sitting on this overclock and the Kitsune rush, should they even need them, and you might want to pull that out. Phone still grabs Kachomp through all of the chaos that is happening. These choke points need to be locked down, but as soon as you let a little stream trickle through, a whole wave is going to come to crash down the house. Spinor doing just that on the Wrecking Ball, the destroyer of any structure that Fable has managed to establish. Even if they get the Wrecking Ball here, they are going to lose the point and are down players.
Yep, and I mean, you've got the turret mode that's going to be coming back online. Artillery strike's going to be gained here very quickly by Phone. And right now, it's Claire going over to the Baptiste once again. We've seen it happen time and time again for this team, is that they switch over to the Baptiste, and that immortality barrier, or the immortality field, is just so good. And it really does keep them and allow them to stay aggressive through the fight.
Want to be able to move up, and that's what you do. You collapse on these less mobile players. There's not a tank in your way to stop them. Claire falls right over, but you don't peek the Bastion in the Amp Matrix. Ugh, main support lost on both sides. Vancouver Titans Blue will have theirs back slightly sooner, and this is going to be very difficult for Fable to have to maintain, especially it being in an overtime situation. And Harley Quinn on the Sojourn, reigning true on the high ground. I mean, this is VTB coming away with that map win. We doubted the Wrecking Ball at the beginning, but it really came back here.
I agree, Gloomy and Spinor and Harley Quinn. I woo to you too. I woo. But still, I mean, the quick changes that we see coming out from Vancouver Titans when they feel that there's a point where the composition isn't working. Claire has been the most dependable and reliable in making that quick adaptation and swapping over to a different character. We see the Baptiste. We see the immediate value of that come out. Now, the big problem that I have is still from yesterday, the placement of the window. Because they throw it out there and then they're immediately killed. I don't know if it's like, is a good luck charm for them to get killed? I don't know. But Fable needs to get themselves back. Otherwise, they're going to go down 1-0 here in our bracket finals.
I mean, Fable.
Quarterfinals.
Quarterfinals, yes. Bracket is a little confusing with a 12-team double elimination. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that thing, but it hurts my brain to really look at. And if you're these teams right now, you just need to focus on the current match that is ahead. And Fable, they want to play some traditional Overwatch. You want to get the jokes rolling, but you can't if Spinor is rolling through your backline, disrupting, not allowing you to play together as a team. And, you know, that wasn't something you're able to counter out on Mecha Base. And with this being a much more open map, I think that Spinor has the ability to do so much here. Fable, this is the worst out of the two maps that they could have gotten to take VTB on at their own comp. And, you know, the biggest thing, you need to be on the objective. Don't let anybody touch. That's the one point where VTB has weakness.
Well, this is where they got beat 100-0 yesterday as well, is on this map. So this is not necessarily their map. They're getting a pretty good early start here, and Spinor is just being a menace on the wrecking ball.
I mean, even if half the team's down, Spinor could care less. I mean, he keeps going, and it's like, you know what? I'm a hamster, and I'm going to do what the hamster wants. And Fable haven't been going so well for it. They're getting staggered out. Even the fights that they're confident about winning, they're not quite ready to reset by the time Spinor decides to re-engage here.
I like the soldier switch here. You've got double hit scans. There's, the spot healing of the biotic field, but it's more about the mobility. There's a lot more mobility here for VTB than what we saw yesterday versus the Valiant Guardians. I mean, we're looking at Claire with the ability to reposition themselves. We got the Swift Step from Safrona, and then everybody else is highly mobile. So for Fable, they need to be able to close down the gap. They need to get the backline taken care of first, and then try to go after the DPS.
And, like, here's the thing. You need to stop looking at Spinor. As much as Spinor is doing, the more attention that Spinor gets, the better it is for VTB, because that's just less pressure onto Phone and Claire, who's launching in their own ultimate. I mean, that forces the sound barrier, and you even still get the Kiriko off of that? I mean, that is just huge for VTB to be able to work with. They don't even need to play on the point. They allow their team to spread out, divide, and conquer.
I mean, they do get the Kitsune Rush out from Safrona, so I mean, both support ultimates off the table, but the fact that they force an early sound barrier means that the engagement is just going to be too bad here for Fable. They're going to have to reset here with 55% and counting.
It's not a whole lot to be able to work with, and, you know, this is kind of the chance that Fable wanted to get built. I mean, look at that ultimate economy. They got 4 to go ahead and pull out right now, and it's a matter of, can they get to the point to pull it out? This Suzu, as soon as it's gone, that's the go button for everybody. There's the Suzu. We expect to see that Rampage any moment now. Crabs onto both Clear and Phone, and with as close as they are to getting their ultimates, you need to get them both down with Charge Chop as the focus fire under lock. VTB looked good, but those ultimates from Fable easily gonna overwhelm them.
It was a patient blade, and you get 2 dash resets to confirm kills there. So, I mean, that's perfect for them. It's good economy. It's going to be a flip at 90%. So, one fight to rule it all here for Vancouver Titans Blue. And, I mean, you do have Bob. You have some time to space it out. I mean, they gained, what, an extra 10% just because of Spinor being able to contest the point.
The hamster don't die, Billy. That's what I'm learning today. The hamster don't die. I mean, the guy is so mobile. Spinor is just rolling circles around Fable where they're just tracking him like, what in the world are they doing right now? Well, Vancouver Titans Blue, they're on one fight territory. All they need to do here, give Harley Quinn and Phone the room to work with their own DPS ultimates, and this could be just as good as done. The only thing Fable have is potentially more stalling power with the Bob, which they end up using aggressively straight into Phone's visors, waiting for the moment to engage, but still ends up getting taken down. That's both the DPS ultimates that Fable managed to shut down. That should not have happened whatsoever, and Vancouver Titans Blue, that was their best chance of closing it out.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how this actually goes out. And I mean, Gloomy going down is the only benefit here for Vancouver Titans Blue. But I mean, you get back fast. And that's a huge pick from Claire. Hello.
Off the map? You had to get him off the... No, wait, no. The 10 damage that whole ability does. I always forget about it because it's so insignificant. But Claire coming up big. Captive Son of her own. Flying through the skies. Harley Quinn gets the remaining of the players. Vancouver Titans Blue. Perseverance pays off in the end. They're looking to hit the 99% marker again. The Fable are back for a stall fight on the top of the point. Spider isn't having it. Doing some classic Wrecking Ball hardcore. Squishing the Genji and any hopes Fable had of coming and bringing this one to a map 3. BT Blue takes round 1.
Well, I mean, this was better for them. And here comes the wolf howls again from Vancouver Titans Blue. Harley Quinn really picking up the mantle that What threw down yesterday. What is the reason I think that they got so much done yesterday was because of how well the Symmetra play is going. But they recognized that maybe they don't have to run that Bastion strat all the time.
Yeah.
And they were able to go in with the hit scans and take better dealing damage with it. And I really like the mobility. It was the mobility in the end that really reversed their fortunes here. From yesterday on Sanctuary, this was a much better showing here from VTB. We'll see what Fable has in store for us as they are going to be picking our next map type, I believe, if that's how it goes in the bracket. And then I think the winner gets to choose the server. I think there's some different rules here for this, but I mean, really from Fable, I think that Ultimate Economy, while they did have it in their favor, they're a little bit timid in pressing the Q button. They're waiting for too perfect of a time for them to commit the ultimates to go in. Rather, I'd like to see them get a little bit more aggressive, go with an early blade, see what you could pull out of them, because that's what VTB did so well, is when they got the ultimate, other than the mines, they were like they're in like white on rice, it was ready to go. And they got it done. So that's what I want to see a little bit more out of Fable. I want to see them get a little bit more aggressive, be a little bit more proactive with their ultimate usage, and try to secure that one kill. If you get one kill off an ultimate, it's still doing its job. It's still going to make it a 4v5 situation, and you're going to see the value on the back of that.
Like, a big part of this, while we might be seeing Vancouver Titans Blue, it seems like they're working like clockwork right now. They trust each other. They know what's happening on their side. Fable, on the other hand, are playing in utter chaos. This is not a composition that you're going to be practicing against often at all, and especially in that second map there, it feels like that they fell victim to all of the craziness that was happening around them. They didn't know where to focus their targets. Like you said, they waited so long to use their ultimate abilities, and therefore didn't give themselves enough good fights to actually get them a decent amount of percentage on the point. And is it going to be something that needs to be improved on the way forwards? Sure, you could say, hey, we played this in a map. Can we figure out how to counter it? Their attention is so divided between where Spinor is, where are their DPS getting set up on the high ground, and then don't mention that you have Claire, who's been getting pretty aggressive on the Iardi herself, just causing another thorn to be pushed into the side of Fable.
I mean, we saw 3 supports come out from Claire. We saw we saw Iari, we saw the Baptiste, and then we saw Kiriko as well. So definitely very well versed and really able to adapt to the situation by a point by point in a fight by fight manner. And I think that's something that is not done enough in higher level play. Is recognizing and being able to adapt that quickly. Safrona still being a beast in the main support role for the VTB. So for these Fable players, we don't see any changes coming in. I would really like to see the Orisa here. We're going to Hollywood, by the way. I have not seen this map in a minute in higher level play. So while the Junker Queen can work here, I think we saw a total of 2 rampages across 2 submaps. That's not enough generation. You've got to be in there. You've got to have Gloomy in there, speeding the Junker Queen around, saving that commanding shot for more dire situations, and being able to repel what VTB are trying to do here. So they're going to be looking at the attack here. Fable will be attacking here, and well, nothing really changes here. All the same characters, just we'll see if they get a little bit better of a look here.
You said all the same characters. There's one that sticks out like a sore thumb to me. There's a life waiver on my screen. Not on my bucket list necessarily today. I see some value that can come from it. It is a very out of the box pick, and it's just another thing that keeps VTB out of Fable's reach right now. And the thing with the Junker Queen, you mentioned Dear Girl isn't charging any of these rampages, because primarily you would take these battles against another tank, against a frontline you can reach, which you just haven't been able to with how mobile and vertical VTB has been so far. I mean, people are just sitting up here taking a beating, looking for a clear direction to take, and it seems like they're still deciding.
Yep, I mean, we're thinking about using that there. The adaptive shielding, they're huge.
Yeah.
But it gets almost 1,000 with the overshielding, and well, that's an early kill though.
There you go. You finally get onto those players you want. You need to save your cooldowns. You wanted to save the commanding shout? Great. You use it, take Claire down, and the rest of the Vancouver Titans Blue easily going to crumble underneath it.
Yeah, I mean, they took my advice. They went in and got somebody in the back line first, and it was the Baptisto. That automatically takes the immortality barrier off the field, and everything after that point, Life Weaver does not put out enough sustainable heals to keep you up. I don't care how much adaptive shielding the Spiner is going to get. You're going to lose that fight when it's 5v3.
Yeah, you don't have numbers there at all. And, you know, even in Vancouver Titans Blue, they have some of their ultimates coming close to online and the high ground control, which is big in this map of Hollywood. We see a lot of teams traditionally even switch to dive here, just to be able to contest it, because it's not easy to get up here at all. And with how Harley Quinn and Phone have been playing, you need to deny the space as much as possible, because they're just going to get set up and farmed on from the top. When you have the Genji on your side, that's where you can start to find that axis. Trump getting aggressive, pulling the blade, falls down a little bit, spots a tree, goes the other direction. Oh, so much is happening for this Genji player, but the space has been cleared. The payload continues to push forward, which is just what Fable asked for.
Well, mines are going to come out here from Spinor. That's going to go ahead and section off quite a bit of real estate here. It's going to be up to Hitsuji. Oh, what a nice swift step to get away from the pile drive. Does leave their team members in the dust, and now it's a 4v3 situation here. We'll see if they can actually work this fight and keep up.
Itsushi's having a rocky relationship with this minefield right now. As much as they're trying to stay away from it, the explosives are sitting in the back. And, I mean, it was such a great placement from Spinor, too. It did a lot of damage, allowing the follow-up to come in. But, I mean, Harley Quinn can make this. Oh, nice shot. I mean, Arya absolutely goes flying up into a wall. Spinor is not done yet, cleaning his team off the face of Hollywood.
I mean, okay, let's first put out there that Fable were surviving 5v3 with the two supports and your Junker Queen there. The Blade pulled out so many resources from VTB that I thought they actually were going to turn that fight. They don't get it done, but what they do have is 3 ultimates into this next fight and a sound barrier only 30% away.
That alone is plenty to be able to push this one out. Gloomy's sound barriers have empowered Fable so much to start taking these fights at a more aggressive point. And the only difficult part here is you need to force the high ground. Vancouver Titans Blue need to fight down to them, as otherwise it's just a problem. I mean, VTB have the superior sightlines, and because Fable are taking so long to make a move, even if they're just sitting in the Kitsune Rush with their ultimates, the height's still not theirs, and all of the explosives blow them into a pile of smithereens. I mean, that was just an absolute massacre.
I mean, I don't even know if Deer Girl's going to be able to get out of here. No, they are not. And I mean, we've already taken 2 minutes off the clock here in the street space here in Hollywood. On the back of some, just wacky placements of ultimates, wacky positioning. Fable wants to play on the low ground. They want to keep contact with the payload, but I think that they really do need to get Garchomp a little bit more sustainability in these fights. Maybe going over to an Ana here might be the way to go.
The Ana would be a good addition to the team. I mean, not only that, but those bio nades are a huge resource that you can use. And I mean, at least this time, Billy, they seem to want to at least attempt the high ground. They got denied by Spinor as they were attempting on the elevator, so they moved back, maybe attempting on the other building from the looks of it. And I love the Life Weaver POVs. Don't get me wrong at all. I mean, Safrana's just sitting up here pretty, where Spinor is denying the entry time and time again. This is just crazy. Fable, they want to contest PTB, but they can't get them on the height that they want. This is just brutal. Brutal right now. Dear Girl finally has the ultimate to come into play. So focused on getting Harley Quinn, which she will end up doing, but can you get the rest of the players that are off the high ground? There's a tree up there, and I can tell you that thing is keeping Safrana and Claire alive no matter what.
Well, mine's coming up into this fight for Spinor with a couple of power drives and accessory. Oh my goodness, goodbye. Goodbye. Yeah, you're going to go down here. Holy cow, Phone. Getting the work done in a very small space against a Junker Queen. I do not recommend it. 0 out of 10 on Yelp for that advice. And we'll see. We'll see how they get doing here. There's the mines that I mentioned coming up. Garchomp is trying to take him down. They just don't have enough damage to proc through.
No, and I mean, the minefield again, right here, this elevator, even it gets Garchomp, and Arya dies up on the height as well. I mean, Fable had not taken a solid fight here, and arguably the past 2 minutes, Billy, we're down to nearly 40 seconds, and not a lot left in the tank.
What a brilliant minefield, first of all. That was disgusting in the most wonderful way possible. You are looking at an overclock. You are looking at the rampage coming through. Garchomp tried to do their best to take Spinor down, but once again, adaptive shielding too good.
Wow. Definitely go grab it. Look what this Spinor has. We're looking at quadruple digits. That should not be a thing in this game, in my opinion. And I guess the same goes for Fable right now. They're struggling to deal with the Wrecking Ball. They need to look somewhere else and hope they can do more damage than what Spinor is currently doing to the backline. It's a beautiful knife to get the Lifeweaver off the high ground, but Saffrona manages to get away. Claire, though, ended up getting hit with that ultimate. So Deerglow looking to be the hero for their team, and it has to be, but all the tools are favoring the defenders. Vancouver Titans Blue filling the kill feed with their team. What a defense they just showcased here on the second point of Hollywood. What was it? We had 4.5 minutes coming into this, just got held.
Yep, that was incredible. That was absolutely incredible. That turn of the fight, the life grip, that came out of Saffrona, the get phone out of that bad situation, got him immediately topped back up, went right back into kill mode. Holy cow, that is a fight turn and a half on Fable. Fable just could not take a strong fight. Adaptation. I'm going to harken on this once again. Adaptation. You have to adapt to the composition that's in front of you. The Junker Queen is just getting bullied by Phone, by Harlequin, by Spinor. I mean, it doesn't matter. And anytime that you do see these strong committals coming in from Fable, Saffrona there, with the genius pick of the Lifeweaver, just pulls the targeted member of the VTB out back to safety, gets them healed all nice and toasty, and sends them right back out there and says, go again, champ. So, I mean, you know, we saw them struggle against Valiant Guardian yesterday. I think they've learned some lessons. I think they've taken away some very positive momentum points away from this, or not having to deal with an Orisa. I see that as soon as I say that. This, now, we know that Spinor has a good answering Orisa, but we're going to see how good Deer Girl is on this Orisa. You're going to be able to hold its space a whole lot better. Now you've got this damage mitigation that has been severely lacking for Fable.
Not only that, but this is a whole get away from a Spinor comp. This is what this screams to me. Not only are you adding the CC with the Orisa, but there's a Sombra on the field. You have the Brigida to help keep Hijitsu alive, and I mean, they don't want Spinor to do anything, but what they don't know, Billy, is that they have something up their sleeve. What is this strat? You can't put a teleporter up. Oh, you know what? It was worth a shot. It looked cool while it lasted. Glad you went for it, but now this Reinhardt has to get somewhere up close, and the teleporter ended up getting destroyed. So I guess we're taking this fight the good old-fashioned way, regardless of how fancy we wanted to see it go. And I mean, Fable gave up so much space. They were so confused, just like VTB was. They were attempting to take the battle, and, you know, with all of that shield of Spinor, just sit there. Sit behind the good old rectangle man. Let Phone and Harlequin do their thing. Maybe throw in a couple swings with it. And I mean, Fable, they adjusted their game plan, expecting the Wrecking Ball, but now seeing the Reinhardt on the screen, they're lost all over again.
Yep, I mean, this could be the point, because that's going to be Deer Girl going down, though. I mean, the support was there for long until it wasn't. Just overwhelming power coming from VTB here. I like the changes that have come through. I like Garchomp on the Symmetra. 60% towards EMP. The manual hacks just not gotten enough value out of it. And you've got an early window available here. They've only got to go about, 3/4 of the way through the streets phase here, and they're going to go ahead and take the 2-0 victory.
It's 5 minutes. 5 minutes right now. And Fable have not shown any signs of stabilization throughout this map since they've taken the first objective. And I mean, it's now or never, to be honest with you. Spinor is on the Wrecking Ball once again. They're lurking. Oh, just they get the boop onto Deergle. You don't have the tank on the high ground. That is not good at all. I mean, Deergle has to run back to the team because there's no support available for her for where she's currently positioned, and that leaves everybody else vulnerable. Look how low the Garchomp ended up getting. It forces the Ana and the Baptiste to come to their aid just for Phone to give them a good old nice greeting as they went to say hi to their next support. And I mean, Vancouver Titans Blue, they've managed to contest the payload this whole time, Chef Billy. This isn't the map that I didn't think Fable selected. This is what VTB wanted to do. This is where they wanted to go because of Phone and Spinor and the rest of Vancouver Titans Blue.
Oh my god.
What they were getting themselves into, and what a way to close out their round, keeping them alive in the winner's bracket.
I mean, that's a clean 2-0 win, and Fable will be going down to your lower bracket here. But man, that was pretty dominant from Vancouver Titans. I mean, that was just some spectacular Overwatch here that we just witnessed. Completely understanding their composition, completely understanding how they want to run this. Here comes the life grip. Yep, going away. It goes right back to work against Arya and gets everybody in the end. That's why you picked the life we were there. That was absolutely perfectly played. And well, I mean, like I said, Fable, they still are in the tournament. They just got to make a lower bracket run. Adaptability. You have got to change up your composition. If it ain't working, it ain't gonna need to be staying the way it is. Hopefully, they'll have some time to look over the review of this. See where they went wrong, and get it back together.
Yep, and guess what? You have a little bit of time to do that with the way that our bracket is currently situated. So Fable, they're not down and out yet. They'll be heading down to the losers bracket. Still more matches to play for them, whereas Vancouver Titans Blue sitting pretty on an extra lifeline of loss should they end up needing it. So we'll be following their journey as they proceed through the Kunoichi Kerfuffle playoff bracket. We've got more matches coming for you, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you in just a little bit. That was the most
Welcome back,
sudden one.
everybody. Oh, we're total professionals here. We're just having a good old time talking about stuff going on throughout the universe of Overwatch. Pretty big upset today. Boise State taking Northwood down 3-0. That is something that I did not have on my bingo card today, but apparently the Broncos up there. I mean, Boise State has come out with fire in their eyes. Definitely a top 3 team in the nation. But we got Valiant Guardians versus Chengdu Guardians coming up next here in our lower bracket. Are we in the lower bracket or are we still in the upper bracket?
Still in the upper bracket. So this match is the winners semifinals. So we have currently 4 teams remaining in the upper bracket, and the winner today will move on to the winners finals, which will be played on tomorrow. Best of 5 formatting. So this is a big match for these teams to win. We'll guarantee them a decent placement within the tournament. So it's going to be starting right here. Get yourselves in a good spot. The Valiant Guardians, Chengdu Guardians. I feel like this was made to confuse us, Billy. Just to be honest with you. Both named Guardians, and these teams did have a bit of a rivalry with each other when we saw them compete in the last Calling All Heroes event. And the Chengdu Guardians actually changed their original name. They were originally the Chengdu Drainers, changed it to the Chengdu Guardians after that last Calling All Heroes minor. I mean, there's something going on behind the scenes here.
I mean, Chengdu versus Valiant. I mean, that's already it's already a Chinese versus a Chinese team. So now, I mean, you've got to bring it into Calling All Heroes as well. And we saw Valiant Guardians yesterday have a really good performance against the team that we just saw win cleanly 2-0, the Vancouver Titans Blue. So VTB gave Valiant Guardians a good run for their money yesterday, but Valiant definitely showing a lot more versatility than what we saw out of VTB yesterday. VTB today showing up a little bit more in the adaptability department. So Chengdu right now, they're going to have to be very careful of how they approach this match, because Valiant, they were pretty humming on their compositions yesterday. Saw a lot of good stuff, but I mean, I'm here for it. I want 3 maps. I'm greedy. I know, but it just builds the drama, and that's what we need here.
3 is the best number in every single aspect, especially in our best of 3 scenario. So give us as many maps as possible is really what we're looking for. But you're not wrong when you say Chengdu Guardians have a lot to show here, taking on the Valiant in this situation. Chengdu Guardians, they're playing in both regions, so they've already played their matches this morning. They've had some more time to practice and figure some stuff out, and I think they're in the top 3 teams heading into tomorrow as well. So they're in a good spot in the EU side. They want to replicate that here in the NA, and it's honestly a test of endurance. You're playing so much competitive Overwatch in one day. Can they manage to keep that same integrity up, especially on arguably one of the best teams that we have here?
I tell you what, I was of the, I used to compete not only in traditional sports but also in esports, and I feel like when you have one result, and if it's a good result, even if you lose, if it's a good result for the team, I think that propels you on into your next game. So, is there a knock-on effect here for Chengdu? Do they take the positives from their first series of the day on the EU side, and now transfer this over to this matchup against Valiant? I'm actually, I'm actually thinking that it might be the case. We'll see once we get into our maps. And well, we're the players are in the lobby, I do believe. So we should be heading into game here very shortly. But Valiant Guardians, I mean, they kind of got smacked around yesterday. They did have the C9 loss on Busan, but after that, things got locked down and things got very interesting very quickly with the rapid adaptability of this team.
And that's one of the things that I think. That's what puts them in the highest level of teams for me here. This is why I think Valiant Guardians are the best, is their level of adaptability. I mean, you look at Moving Fish on the tank, that's where a lot of this is going to branch off of. Of course, it is not just them, but that is a great starting point for the Valiant Guardians. I mean, they have so much competitive experience as a squad and the ability to play so many different comps. So even if you're playing against teams like the Vancouver Titans Blue who like to pull something out of pocket, you're able to make these adjustments. You have that adaptation, which has been something that a lot of teams that have played in this tournament so far, something they haven't picked up on nearly as much.
We'll see. We'll see how they go. It looks like we do have a map pick brought in, and they have picked Busan to go somewhere. So we will see what they got. But we'll see how this actually runs out here. I'm thinking, they're going to try and eliminate the demons of yesterday of that one fight that they C9'd there on downtown. We don't like to
Ooh.
talk about it, but we're going to talk about it. I will bring it up at every chance I can because that was egregious yesterday. But I mean, for Valiant Guardians right now, I mean, if you're looking for where everything's going to start here, it's Moving Fish. Okay, Moving Fish really did show a lot of adaptability yesterday, and you know, we saw the tank, the tank roulette. And finally settled down onto the Orisa. I mean, the Orisa was fantastic. The Zarya was really good too. And Sigma, we did not see the Sigma from them. We saw Junker Queen as well. But for the Chengdu's side, Kindred, one of my favorite people here, Peace as well. We're going to see how they bring this out. And then Shumanzia, that is one of their substitutes. So I'm looking to see if they're going to actually be a part of this with projectile DPS being the way they are right now. You might want to look at the Hanzo. You might want to look at it. You might want to look at an Echo to go up against what Valiant Guardians brought out yesterday. Mm-hmm. I think going maybe a little bit against the trend. We saw VTB be able to do it, and you know they gave them a lot of hell there in King's Row especially. Flashpoint was a little bit more straightforward for the Valiant Guardians against VTB, but we'll see how this rolls out here as we start in Busan. We're going to start in Mecha Base. So I'm looking for a little bit more tankiness coming out from Valiant Guardians, and they're going to start out with the Orisa composition.
Yep, not all that surprised here. I mean, Moving Fish has looked stellar on this Orisa, so why would you really want to change that up? I don't see a reason to, and, you know, you're running this out with the Bastion and the Symmetra. Very common strat that we're seeing a lot of these teams start to pick up when it comes to Mecha Base in particular. But, I mean, Chengdu Guardians also sticking with their classic Jotes random. Kindred is nutty on the Junker Queen. It's not on the Sojourn. If they can start to get going, and it's going to be a big boost of momentum. Can they read the teleporters? This one goes into the back. Look how split the Chengdu Guardians managed to get Kindred, the first to fall out of all players, and that is going to be the Valiant Guardians off to a strong start.
Yep, I mean, great fake teleporter there, and just gives them a little bit of extra positioning, and they get into the lines of sight that they need. That's first capture right there. Now, Zepturn here on the Ana, they're going to have a really hard time keeping members of the team up. You're looking for the Bionade engages to get the most value out of them, because there is no Kiriko, so that's the big problem for them, is they don't have a way to cleanse.
No, and you don't have that ability, so I mean, Valiant Guardians, can they close these fights out before Zepturn makes things get all messy? And I mean, the hard part with it too is you need to push through chokes, which the Baptiste is just so much better for it. I mean, the Bionade does come in onto Moving Fish eventually, but I mean, you have the Immortality field to get out. You have a lot of other options that you're able to work with, and all the Valiant Guardians need to do is stand tall behind Moving Fish and hold the choke.
I mean, the big problem is, you know, waiting for the deflect. I think that's their biggest problem right now, is waiting for the deflect and then waiting for the commanding shout to come out, and then they can go in on top of really anything that Chengdu is going to bring to them. So, I mean, Sound Barrier and Nano going to be online for Chengdu as they approach this point. You're obviously playing for that Nano Blade.
That's a big win condition that you can manage to work with, and I mean, ideally you want to hold on to it as long as possible. I mean, the Nano already built up by Zepturn 2. Absolutely crazy. They used it in that fight, so they're not going to have it for the Dragon Blade, which, honestly, not the end of the world when the Valiant Guardians don't have a significant answer for it.
I mean, the fact that they invest both their support ultimates into that fight really does get them purchase point, and allows them to be steady through the mid-fight, and when the next rotation of cooldowns comes through, that's when Chengdu really were able to push the go button. And that, you know, yeah, it was 2 support ultimates, but now they're coming up on their Rampage with a blade behind it.
They have so much to be able to pull out here. I mean, Chengdu Guardians, this is a fight that you should be able to win. The difference now, though, is Valiant Guardians have swapped up. You now have these bubbles. You have the cleanse. These are the adaptations we're talking about, Billy. You're completely countering out what Peace and the Chengdu Guardians want to do, and you don't walk into a full charge Zarya like that.
Wow.
Oh, X10 is on fire. They're starting to cook things up, and the Guardians fell over stunned with what just happened.
I mean, what an adaptation. Aramori gets my gold star for that fight. I mean, the recognition that they knew that Blade and Rampage were built up. They immediately go over to the Kiriko. You save Suzu. Everybody gets cleansed up. The Bubbles cleanses the rest, and it's all done.
It's seriously as simple as that, and I mean, all the utility the Valiant Guardians have at their disposal right now negates what the Chengdu Guardians are attempting to pull out themselves, and You're okay with giving up the point. You're essentially on one fight territory. If it means it gets that Rampage out of Kindred, I mean, look how far she is out of position right now. You'll eventually get the trade out onto Moving Fish, but you're still down. It's a 3v3 on the point where a lot of these players from Valiant are just going to regroup.
Well, we'll see how they work this. They were able to wrestle control from the Valiant Guardians there, but now you're looking at Grav and the Overclock. Oh my word! You're gonna hope for a deflect, but you don't need that when Wisp goes down to Kindred.
No, I mean, Wisp was up there. You could tell that Mori was just praying that she would walk into their sightlines, but never got the opportunity. So the Graviton Surge, surely that's the thing to turn it around and put the Kitsune Rush on top. I mean, Valiant Guardians poured everything into that Graviton Surge, and that's what they had to do. They knew it's only one fight territory, so they close it out, get a team wipe onto Chengdu now. There might not even be a next one.
Scarlet has to touch. They're gonna put out the.
They're not making it.
They're not making it.
That's
Nope.
It.
Nope.
Goodbye.
Nope. I thought Scarlet might have been able to get there, but it was just too good. And the overclock really does prevent them from getting out there. So, I mean, for Chengdu, I mean, they're showing great signs of light, and you know, they really haven't swapped up that much. I still think that Moving Fish's adaptability and recognition of when to make a switch led to the other changes for Valiant Guardians. So for Chengdu, they need to be able to match that same energy, you know, keep that same energy as some of my friends say. And, well, Kindred's going to show us their own Zarya. So this is actually going to be a little bit more of a punching power for Chengdu. And if Wisp stays with this Junkrat, nope, we're not going to do that. We're going to have complete mirrors here. This is going to be very interesting. We'll see how Chengdu holds up against a very stable Valiant Guardians composition.
Making the full composition, or not the full swap, but even just having Kindred onto that Zarya, which I don't know if I've ever seen Zarya from Kindred so far, so gets a first taste of it, but Senna, alright, you pop Armori's head like a balloon. Great start. That should make things easy for Chengdu Hunters to zone it out and get the rest of Valiant Guardians back to spawn.
Okay, so now do we see Moving Fish? Maybe perhaps swap here, going over to maybe the maybe to a Diva. We know that the Diva is very good. The Zarya has been pretty darn good, but they just didn't have the same punching power, especially with Zepturn showing up big in the first mid-fight there. They were able to get the pick on Aramori. That's all your healing resources gone.
Yep. Yeah, as soon as you lose Aramori, I mean, it's game over right now. I mean, these Kirikos are the prime real estate, but neither of the Genjis respected the opposing Zarya, so basically back to where we started, out of 4v4, but the difference is Valiant Guardians use their speed to gain control of that high ground, and that's going to help them close that out. As soon as Zepturn falls, Kindred is to follow shortly.
Well, I'm surprised we haven't seen the Symmetra here, and I think right now for them, I mean, the cleanup is good. 31%, 32 will tick up here. That's actually a good trade here for Valiant Guardians. Now we're going to start seeing ultimates start to cycle through once again. I'm looking for, Moving Fish 10% ahead in the Grav department. The Grav is going to have to get there before the Scarlet sound barrier goes.
Yeah, and it's be a tough race. I mean, both of those ultimates take a long time to build up here, but Moving Fish has just a great angle with these secondary fires and the lack of respect from Peace right now. That's the second time we've seen that happen in these past couple of fights, Billy, is Peace just goes into Moving Fish like, oh, they're not gonna hit me. Oh, yeah, buddy, they're gonna hit you all right. And it's losing your team, these battles, as soon as that DPS falls. I mean, they're pushing straight to the spawn.
Oh, I like this disengage coming through, the speed out, the app speed disengage, and I mean, you've got Blade almost ready to go here for X10, and the overclock is ready to go, so I think that this is going to be a go point for them.
You have all of these ultimates at your disposal, but it's those Graviton Surges that have come up big, and, honestly, it's Moving Fish that didn't use theirs first. Valiant Guardians had 5 ultimates heading into that fight, but it takes the one from Kindred to put it all back down.
I mean, we're looking to see what they're going to be able to flip out here because we've gotten, a big push there. I think that this grab that's coming up for Moving Fish, I think that you put it in with either the overclock or the blade. I think you get the full value out of it. And we saw what happened on Mechabase when they let loose with it.
This overclock Senna wants to make this one just cut and dry as smooth as possible. And in Valiant Guardians, you don't want to peek that at also, just be another standstill coming in, but this time it's X10 who disrespects Kindred onto this Genji. I mean, the Graviton Surge still coming out, but you have the sound barrier to counter it, so
wow.
Those ultras, they come up with nothing. Chengdu recognize that, and they clean everything up.
Completely devalued the grav.
Wow.
This is where I think we're going to see Moving Fish possibly swap over. No, they're going to keep it. Blade versus Blade, but you do have sound barrier difference.
What? I mean, here's the nice thing. You not only do you have a sound barrier difference, but now you have the player advantage piece. Honestly fed straight up into the spawns, got too confident, and now X10 had the opportunity to use this Dragon Blade of their own relatively for free, grab the supports, all you needed to get as the Genji and Valiant Guardians. They'll gladly take what's given to them.
Yep, and I mean we're seeing a little bit better decision making here coming out from Valiant. I mean the ultimate economy is shot right now, but the fact that you could win that fight just on the Blade alone with those early picks that came out, a little bit of over aggression from Chengdu, immediately punished.
It's seriously something as small as an overextension like that's going to shut things down. But Aramori on the high ground, that is the last thing you wanted to see. If you're the Guardians, it's all up to the Blade to try to make things happen. And I mean, with the piece getting shut down, sure, that's something to keep you in the fight. And I mean, this is going to be the last battle you're going to get in the whole map. And even if they don't have Aramori, the Valiant Guardians are still up. They get Kindred out. Kindred got so far away from her supports and loses her life, and therefore a major chance that Chengdu had to close this one out to push it to a round 3, all going away because Moving Fish was in the right position at the right time. The cohesion of this squad is pushing them over the edge, and I mean, even with the eliminations they managed to get, it's just a staggered out effort, delaying the inevitable as the Chengdu Guardians fall in map number 1. I mean, Valiant Guardians here are doing just a great job coming back from some serious troubles they had at the beginning of this map.
Yep, I mean, it's just clean up right here for the Tracer. Yeah, that does it right there. So a 2-0 victory here. They erased the demon of yesterday's C9 here on this very sub map, getting the work done. So they take the 1-0 victory here in Busan. We'll have the Chengdu Hunter, or the Chengdu Guardians. We'll have their map pick for Hybrid coming up in just a few minutes. But man, I mean, X10 was absolutely filthy on this Genji. I mean, I love to see it. I was actually on Twitter today, and there's a post out there. It was talking about X10 quitting Overwatch and calling all heroes initiative, brings them back into the fold, reignites their passion for the game, and just absolutely took over on the Genji. So welcome back, X10. Love to see you here, my friend. And you know what? I think that your team is very happy that you're here too.
Almost definitely. I mean, I want an X10 on my team. Everybody wants an X10 at their team, especially with the performances that they've been putting up here in this tournament. And I mean, Billy, X10 we didn't actually get to see them at all yesterday, if I remember correctly. It was mainly, oh my gosh, HK, Chisato, that was in for Valiant Guardians. So X10 coming in today, isn't skipping a beat. I mean, having 2 elite flex DPS players like this on their team, that's just insane. They're hogging all the good people here.
I mean, but it is what it is. And I mean, it's about team synergy, and being able to just take one cog out of the machine and replace it with somebody else and still have the same results. I mean, you've got to throw it up there for the coaching staff and being able to have all these players ready to go. And it shows on the field. So for Chengdu, they're not rolling over. They have not presented the soft underside of their Chengdu Guardians belly, but when the fights get a little bit dicey, when it starts getting into crunch time at the end of these sub map rounds, there's a little bit of panic comes in, and I think that they just take a breath, mind their ult economy, make sure the communication is good, and that when they're going in as a full 5. They have a set target, because you can kind of see it as it plays out on the screen. That you can see that there's just a little bit of a disconnect as it starts getting, dicey there at the latter stages of maps or objectives. So, something I want to see kind of be keeping my eyes on here when we go into our hybrid map.
And it's more of this adaptation too that we wanted to see. I mean, Chengdu Hunters, Guardians, clearly capable of changing up their compositions, playing it as they will. But in the end, Valiant Guardians, they look more synergized. They look like they're on the same page. They're able to pull out this level of focus fire we haven't quite seen from Chengdu thus far in a map that specifically encourages these teams to fight head on, such as King's Row. This is something that's really going to be put to the test here.
We'll see how it rolls out here. I got a little bit of a grainy picture, so I'm trying to get that fixed up right now. But I think that for Chengdu, I mean, they definitely have the opportunity to bring it out here. But King's Row, Kings Row is where the turnaround happened yesterday for this Valiant Guardians team. They really took it to the members of VTB, and I mean, Moving Fish had a singularly beautiful map there yesterday. So we'll see if they can continue this on with a good Genji player like we've seen X10 today. Might even be better than what we saw yesterday out from HQ Broke or Shizada. So we'll see it. Guardians from Valiant, they're going to be on the defense here, so they want to see what kind of a benchmark they got coming out here. And don't see any changes from Chengdu either. So we're going to play the Baptiste here. Better healing from range, a little bit more for burst. Also, the window is going to be so very important when we do get into the latter stages of the rounds here, and when they go to contest it. We're having a little dance off here,
What
almost
are
like
you circling?
Star Trek, almost Star
It's a
Trek.
cat! It was a cat. I wanted to say cat just so I knew you would do that.
You knew I would do it.
Oh, I did.
I'm so predictable.
Hey, you know what? I mean, honestly, this is just something that you're the cat guy, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I also don't see anything wrong with this Baptiste selection from Aramori. Like you said, you're gonna have better healing at range. But if X10 gets a kunai to the face, this whole castle is about to come tumbling down quickly.
That's it.
If there isn't anything to compensate for. I mean, ideally, you want to get the soft reset, but I mean, Chengdu Guardians don't seem to want that to happen at all. They're continuing to push up.
I mean, you might have a chance at a recontest here. I don't know if that'll actually happen, but yeah, they actually are going to be able to try and touch. They're working to get on this chart. They do have the projected barrier changes once again. Zarya going burr right now.
Whoa, Moving Fish, the secondary fire. Goodbye, Scar. I mean, Moving Fish is just so good at this. I mean, the tracking is absolutely insane right now. Chengdu Guardians looked like they had the fight, and I think they thought they did as well, because Moving Fish came back into that, caught Scarlet completely off guard, and they're going to manage to hold on, weather the storm with this first chaotic fight.
Kitsune Rush should go right here. There it goes.
Yeah, but the Kitsune, yep, you're right. Puts them right back in, and Moving Fish into taking themselves out of all the ways you could go. Not the way that you wanted to see it in Valiant Guardians without that steady player in the front lines, the back. You're gonna have a great time, especially as Kindred is lasering you down.
I mean, the fact that we see the just complete kill there. Now, they do get a minute off the clock, but it is 5 minutes to get through the streets of London. And now they've given up archway control as well. There's no amount of speeding on that you're going to be able to do here to be able to contest at the archway. So they're going to have to make their stand at bookstore. X10 has got to get, into these flanking positions a little bit easier. And Graviton Surge is online.
Yeah, I mean, Kindred is like waiting for the Graviton Surge to come in. She wants them to push up just so that they can guarantee that there's no bead. There it is, around the corner. Grabs, I believe, just 2 here, and you go ahead and take those with all that you can. And wow, Chengdu Guardians, they're making this one work. Get Aramori down. I mean, this is gonna be rough. I mean, Halo still commits the sound barrier here, so you have confidence it can be closed out, but it's these tools confiscating for the loss of the Baptiste, allowing Valiant Guardians to gain a steady position to stand on.
I mean, they've gotten both the support ultimates out, so I mean, that's, Valiant Guardians are going to have a little bit harder staying time here. Now, the good thing is that they don't have a Graviton Surge to worry about, because Kindred was so aggressive with it. Actually, pretty smart there from Halo, if I do say so myself, but now they're looking at a Blade. Blade be Blade at an early overclock.
So yeah, the overclock out first, and with that's plenty of pressure to take down the Titan of Moving Fish, and the rest is just history from here. Ideally, you don't want to commit any more ultimates to the fight if you don't have to, but the support players stalling out this payload for Valiant Guardians gives them another fight to potentially come back and recontest.
Well, I mean, that does give them time. 1.5 minutes has gone off the clock here as we're riding our way through point B here in London, and you're looking at the Blade still online. But double support ultimates is going to be the kicker here for Chengdu Guardians. It's going to have to be a really damn good grab coming out from Moving Fish to get any value.
With both of the support, also, that's putting it lightly, Billy. I mean, this is pretty close to impossible with how Zepturn and Scarlet have been with their ultimates alike, and especially with X-Men rolling over. I mean, there was not a chance for them to do anything. Chengdu Guardians weren't having any of it, and they're going to commit the rest of their utility. It can make sure they can get to this third and final point with 4.5 minutes to make it happen.
And a stagger. And the staggers are even worse here. This is where I think that you move off of the Zarya. You bring out the Orisa, you bring that steadiness out here. I mean, even the Symmetra could be a little bit better. Yeah, you give up a little bit of extra bubble charge to Kindred, but you have the wherewithal and the presence to be able to stop this flank that's been coming through from X10, or I'm sorry, from Peace and from Senna. They have been playing beautifully off each other.
They continue to do so as well. I mean, the synergy right now at Chengdu Guardians has taken a step up. This is where I thought they were having a hard time last map, but clearly, once they get the ball rolling, players like Peace and Senna can start to do amazing things for the Chengdu Guardians. I mean, they're basically one fight away from taking this point, and, you know, they get a trade out for the DPS, one apiece, and they're close to this Graviton Surge from Kindred as well, where Halo doesn't have the Soundbarrier right yet. If they decide to commit it now, Billy, that could be big.
That was so close to being absolute game over there, but I think it might still be. Well, I say that X10.
Okay.
Okay, the trades are back and forth.
We're shooting some toes, looking at the toes under the payload. All right, Wisp, I like to see it. I mean, not the toes, but hey, you'd get a little nice sight line under there. And that, look how low Kindred is as a result. They can't take as much space as you'd like, so Valiant Guardians giving themselves an opportunity for Moving Fish to return to the fight and offer more of that stabilization instead of just running on fumes constantly. I mean, Senna right now continuing to apply the damage, live up to that pressure, because every ultimate has basically been used for Chengdu Guardians in this fight, minus the sound barrier here. And with that elimination, that's something you need to start working off of. Get the sound barrier out now. Make it happen, Scarlet.
Wow.
Because this is the opportunity for Chengdu Guardians to make a mark, make Valiant Guardians go back to the drawing board and think about how they're going to reapproach King's Row, because this was brutal on the attack.
Wow. I mean, they did not even allow, or no, they did allow VTB to close out in overtime yesterday. This is a 2.5 minute difference between what happened yesterday. And I mean, you stayed on the Zarya too long. There was no timidity coming out from Chengdu here. Once they started feeling that snowball gathering speed, they were pushing it. They were icing the hill below it to make it go faster. And I mean, just the early fight picks. That's just the biggest difference. It was the early fight picks. Chengdu getting an early fight pick in the last 3 engagements is why Valiant were never able to get their feet set clearly. So for Valiant Guardians, I mean, they're going to have to come out, you know, on fire here. Now, what did they have yesterday? Did they have like 4.5 minutes when they got done with their attack phase?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not when they were oh no, it was something, I think it was closer to 3.5, but regardless of the point, that is still a lot of time to push through King's Row. It's just that once they get going, they can't be stopped, and that's what Chengdu just pulled onto the Valiant themselves. So they got a bit of a taste of their own medicine, how they can get the ball rolling here, because you're not wrong. Kindred has been outdoing Moving Fish on the Zarya. We've wanted to see the swaps here, and we're still teasing the Zarya coming out of the spawns, which makes me think it's going to stay. And what really needs to be changing the playstyle here, Billy?
I mean, I think it's. I hate to say it. I think that I think that they either the bubble management has to be better, or you need to get up into Kindred's face and provide some kind of CC for them. I think that maybe bringing out what we saw yesterday. We saw them bring out the Brigida yesterday, and it really messed with the Genji's head. So I think though that's one way that they can turn this around. Getting Peace out of the situation as well. Something else that they need to be very focused on. Kindred going super low, but the hills are there.
I mean, that's the pressure we wanted to see Moving Fish apply that to Kindred. Don't give her the space to do work, because that was a big problem for you on your own defense. And look at Moving Fish, full on pedal to the metal right now. There is no stopping for Valiant Guardians. The floodgates have been opened, and finally Moving Fish has room to swim.
Yep, I mean, the fact that they're pouring all these resources into Moving Fish is the reason why they win this fight easily. Yep. I mean, this is going to be even faster time going through. It's going to be 5:39, where it was 5 minutes for Chengdu Guardians. It's 5:39 as we get the payload moving here, and a high charge Moving Fish is deadly.
It's scary, but the one differential here is that Chengdu Guardians, they can hold at this first bridge choke point, and if we know anything, this is not an easy spot to get through. It's going to cost some of these larger abilities to make it happen, which in terms of support ultimates, Chengdu Guardians nearly there on both of them alone, and even if they just stall this out, play the neutral game until you get this Kitsune rush to start to get some of these players out of the way. That's all that you need to do. I mean, Zepturn's been putting in the work on this Kiriko, not only with the kunai, but this healing as well has been absolutely crazy for the team, but you just went up there into the face of Azaria, put yourself in a corner, no way out. I mean, Moving Fish is down, but Zepturn is light years away from the payload.
Well, we'll see how this is actually going to go. They're going to need to get the Swift step back, and that's going to really affect them in the next fight. But Grav already ready to go here for Moving Fish. I think that you've got to go with the Wombo combo here.
Yeah.
I think just to keep the payload going, but double support ultimates for both sides. This is going to be an extravaganza coming in.
Oh, dude, my screen is so gonna freeze when this starts. I am telling you now! The Kitsune Rush opening it up, Graviton Surge locking the players into face, but we don't get the Wombo combo. We wanted to see the damage follow-up from the Guardians isn't there, so the Graviton Surge goes down to nothing. At least it's the same for Chengdu right now. All those resources gone. It's on to X10 to make the difference. Both the Genji players piece striking back. X10 manages to grab 2, but the spawns are farther away. Chengdu Guardians need to hold on to this payload to buy as much time off the clock as they can.
I mean, they get the mini over on the side. I mean, you do lose your hit scan, but you still got the presence of Peace here. Peace could get stuff done until he can't.
Can until they can't.
Until you can't. It's okay. I mean, we're looking at Bob now. Bob is going to be a great initiator here. It's going to be able to hold some serious space for them as well.
The Bob easily going to be a good stall tool, but you don't really need to stall. You need to push these players back. So if you just chuck the good old robot butler into the back line, that would be great. But I mean, the charge, the resources pumped into Moving Fish right now, it's just crazy. I mean, Valiant Guardians don't even need the Bob. They're committing it just for fun to get you that more space. What?
Right, Ty? I mean, they have completely turned their aggression around. They're sick of playing this little passivity. There's no timidness from them anymore right now as well. And I mean, Bob did come out, got something done, I guess. I didn't really see what happened with it. But I mean, Zepturn, once again, has this Kitsune Rush almost online. Aramori, they all put up all 4 support ultimates out at the same time. That's how much work Aramori's been putting out here.
I mean, the Baptiste here, the amount of healing that she's able to output is just insane. And as good as Zepturn is, you just can't match the healing output that Baptiste has. I mean, these windows as well. That gives Moving Fish a great advantage. Buys them the corner that they can work with, but also the ability to kind of push up. And even with the Kitsune Rush, you have a safe spot to regroup to and grab a couple players on the way out. The sustain for the Valiant Guardians simply has been better, and you owe a lot of that to Aramori.
I think that Wisp needs to go either to the Hanzo or they need to go to the Widowmaker to wrestle this high ground away.
And this high ground's going to be a hotly contested point, but so is the payload Graviton Surge. Locked them into place, but I mean, Valiant Guardians haven't had much success with that ultimate on its own, and it's just another one where the follow-up isn't there, and, you know, we're seeing the Battle of the Ashes being more the tell of the overall tale, and with that main tool gone, Valiant Guardians don't have a direction to really push in, because you gotta save the sound barrier, right? You know that they have to have Blade and the Graviton Surge of your own. Yeah, all right, Valiant Guardians, you get out of there.
I mean, we're approaching the 3-minute mark, and we are no closer to getting around the second corner than where we were when we started with the 4 minutes on the clock. So sound barrier is going to probably have to be used aggressively here to try and wrestle high ground control away. You're going into a Blade, and you're going into a sound barrier. And once again, Zepturn's going to have another Kitsune Rush for this fight.
Whew. I mean, how quickly is Zepturn building these up? And we're talking about Aramori, but Zepturn, too, has been doing the work on the supports. Even if it's not in the kill feed, I mean, it's an insurmountable amount of presence that they're able to pump out. But Halo? Uh-oh. That's not good. That is not good at all. Halo had enough of the map, decided to go take a dive off, and, well, you don't really have a team to help you there.
I mean, yeah, they're in the lobby, says Erm. Not exactly sure what happened there. I mean, the fact that they take Kindred down, loses the charge, probably the best thing that could have happened for Valiant there. But we are now at the 2-minute mark, so they are definitely below Chengdu Guardians' time. But they've got 4 ultimates ready to go.
You have so many tools. So many tools for the Valiant Guardians right now. This is the fight that they've been saving up for all this time, but you can say the same for Chengdu. All of those Qs being oppressed, the check marks going out, and I mean, the Blade from Peace incredibly well zoned here. Look at the pressure. They know the Peace is low. You gotta chase them down. You really have to. 12 HP remaining. There you go. But X10 gets punished on their own side. So Valiant Guardians, even if they got that one player, you need to continue to push. What little hope the light you see at the end of the tunnel is there. The golden box of victory somewhat close, and you gotta finish this with time on the clock too. 90 seconds, still a lot, and with Chengdu still holding onto that sound barrier here. Moving Fish doesn't have the health to fully sustain, and they're backing off once again, back to square one. This
was a completely broken fight. that Chengdu turns in their favor. The fact that Moving Fish could not confirm the kill there onto Kindred means that Kindred keeps the charge going on, and then they let the bomb go. It's all done. Sound barrier still ready to go here for Scarlet as we're under a minute.
The sound barrier is all you got, and the sound barrier is all you need. Granted, Moving Fish and X10 haven't really been synergizing their ults. They've been using one to kind of bait out the other, which I'm not entirely against that. The only issue is then X10 has a lot more focus onto them when it actually becomes their turn to start shining. And I mean, Scarlet ends up committing the sound barrier, hits everybody that needs to do, keeps Kindred alive. All right, you did your job. X10, it is on you now. This Dragon Blade, the only thing Valiant Guardians have to keep them in this series, and with how early the deflect hat is out, you're just not going to get anything done. Has to back off, and suddenly those two big wing conditions, Billy, surmount to nothing here. Chengdu Guardians aren't going to let this one go easily at all. Senago, shot to the head. That is a devastating blow. Valiant Guardians, suddenly, they're getting back into this, but they overextend. The Graviton Surge on the other side, keeping them off the payload. 4 seconds remaining. Moving Fish doesn't have the health to continue, but Halo, the saving angel from above, keeping Valiant Guardians up. Their hope of a draw is near, but with Moving Fish going down, all of it is thrown back down the drain, back to square one. They got held on this point 4 minutes. They thought they could come up with something, but pieces, absolutely not. This needs to end here. Had enough of the fighting going on today, and the Chengdu Guardians tying up this series one apiece.
I mean, what a fight back there from Chengdu Guardians. Holy cow. Yeah, I mean, you can see it there. Kindred actually whiffed on that grab.
Yeah.
But I mean,
still ultimate.
Kindred was the better Zarya here. Bubble management was better. The aggression was better. The resources going into Kindred was just better. And the focus fire, they confirmed those kills coming in. That's exactly what you need from your Zarya player. So, I mean, for Moving Fish, we saw Valiant Guardians starting to get it together and started to really just, waylay the heals going into their tank. But the focus fire just too good. The support just too damn good from Chengdu. That's the reason why they are tied here. We're going to map number 3. It's going to be the Valiant Guardians map choice here. And I tell you what, I did not have this listed as a possibility as possibly Chengdu making the upset here, because Valiant looked absolutely clean yesterday. I believe we're going to Flashpoint. So do you think that we go to New Junk City, especially with how absolutely dominant that Valiant Guardians were on Suravasa yesterday?
I mean, Valiant Guardians, it's their map choice in the end, right? If you're comfortable on Suravasa, I don't see a reason for them to switch that up at all. Moving Fish needs to get off the Zarya, though. Hasn't been working into Kindred. You can't be doing that. You can't be running the exact same competition in the exact same way and expecting different results. That is just not how logic ends up working. You need to switch things up. Pull out that Orisa again. I want to see it. And with Suravasa being the confirmed selection, Billy, I mean, this is a direction that Valiant Guardians, they're setting themselves up good. They just need to make the right decisions.
Now, do we see the evil Bastion teleporter strat that we saw yesterday? Because we have not seen that come out from Valiant Guardians today. It does Moving Fish go over to the Orisa, which plays a lot better here than a Zarya will.
Very interesting to say out, because I mean, Kindred can play the Orisa too. This map is good for both of the heroes. I'm honestly curious to see what adaptations at the Chengdu, I keep saying hunters, Chengdu Guardians end up making themselves when they head into this. So the larger amounts of burst damage that we've been seeing so far, like I want to see that Bastion Symmetra come back. That was great. That looks awesome. I wonder if part of the reason we're not seeing it, Billy, is because we don't have Chisato win anymore. And it's something that's not nearly as comfortable for this team. So you don't have Chisato. X10 is coming in to play. I believe in this case, it would be the Bastion. And is that alone enough of a change to deter them from switching up their composition to something that worked so well previously? And I mean, they're teasing it right now. I want to see them hold on to this. And this is where they need to be.
I mean, this is exactly the call.
Yep.
This is exactly the call. They're going to have mobility. They're going to have a backline presence that they did not have before. And Peace is going to get absolutely shredded. They can just work through these bubbles and then just go in on top of it.
It's seriously as simple as that. There's one bubble down, and Kindred had to use one on herself earlier. So, I mean, these teams are getting so... They're careful. They're careful. Once those bubbles are out, though, I mean, Peace, you gotta back off. You can't be playing the front line once again. And that's something I've seen from Peace a lot, too, is that they get very, very aggressive into this team. They're like, oh, they're not going to shoot me. Oh, Peace, they are definitely going to shoot you no matter how many bubbles that Kindred managed to pump in. And, I mean, you would want it to work out, but the problem is Vanguard, they waited so dang long to finally make a teleporter and to make a push. They ended up losing the point and lose about half of the percentage at least before they can take another fight.
Nope, that's it. Now do we see a composition switch here? I mean, with Aramori having window already. I mean, Wisp has not had the turret placement to build up that charge. And really slow down Peace. Has been rocking it on the Genji here, saving dashes, keeping good deflects out there, and the bubbles that have come in from Kindred have been absolutely stellar once again.
This is just the same management here. Kindred has been outperforming Moving Fish so far today. I mean, they have the ultimates to pull this out. You need to win one fight. You commit the blade to do so. I mean, the grab goes in on top of it. Not sure how I feel about that one, but if it gets you this first point, you therefore have an upper hand moving forwards. But Chengdu made that so expensive compared to what it had to be.
I mean, they put the sound barrier out as well. So, I mean, that's everything. That really could have made your next flashpoint that much more winnable. Because now you're going into overclock. You're going to have the rally. That's going to win you a fight on the back of it itself. And then Terror Surge locks everybody down. Well, Halo gone! Oh, no.
Halo gone here. I mean, that is bad for the Valiant Guardians. And what do? You try to retreat back to the point? Is that what's going to work out? I mean, Chengdu are already there. You do not want to take them when they're still full charge on the Zarya. I mean, Valiant Guardians, they're struggling to find a way in just with the amount of damage that has been coming up. The Kitsune Rush blocking a lot of that sound barrier and keeps Kindred alive. I mean, look at all of that healing being pumped in. It takes 5 players looking at the tank in order to take her down. And even with that happening, Oramori is still full. Senna keeping this incredibly winnable for the Chengdu Guardians right now.
No shot.
She's off on the side. She already got Oramori, and she's keeping them occupied so gosh dang well. The DPS are thriving without their tank. All the healing pumped into them, and that is going to push them over the edge to win a fight they should not have.
Wow. Senna just absolutely popped the F off there. Committing the overclock, I don't even care because they got the immediate value and it pulled resources once again out of Valiant Guardians. Now, the good thing for Valiant Guardians is that they did not commit any of those ultimates that they had coming into the fight. So at 33%, and that's what they're going to sit at. Now they're going to have the rally and the Terror Surge ready to go. Nothing online for Chengdu Hunters. It should be a free Terror Surge.
This is it. I mean, Valiant Guardian, you have the tools, you have the ultimate advantage. All you need to do is to actually find the value, which has been a surprising struggle. But I mean, Senna keeps hitting shots like that, Billy.
Good night.
Can we even blame them for that? Like, what do we do? Senna is just killing the whole team.
Senna is on one right now and winning the battle of the DPS, and I'd love to see it. The rally is out. It's keeping people alive as we speak. You're going to have to commit this Terror Surge at some point. 70% and counting. They've already given up the point. They're already moving their way towards the next point. As there's going to have to be a reverse sweep here in map number 3. Chengdu Guardians putting on a masterclass to deal with one of the best teams here in our competition.
Valiant Guardians had to be at the top of everybody's preseason ranking list to this tournament, and
what?
They're looking miserable. They're committing the ultimates to a fight that you get the touch, sure, but you're ending up losing this to only a Kitsune Rush. Valiant Guardians used what little resources they had in an extremely one-sided battle, and they're gonna have to full-on reverse sweep this if they want to come back.
They don't have the tools. They do not have the tools right now. They're missing Chisato right now.
Zarya.
I can guarantee you. We're gonna go to this is basically showing your underbelly. At this point, with how Kindred has owned the Zarya 1v1 against Moving Fish, my lord, they've got the grab as well.
I mean, Chengdu Hunters, you just commit to the ultimates, you commit to the fight, and at the grab, pulls it in, grabs 3. Kindred easily made up for that last one we whiffed on King's Row, which, yes, I'm gonna still talk about it because this, in comparison. This is why Kindred is winning these games for their team. Moving Fish has been struggling to keep up.
Well, I mean, that's clean. That's clean out of Chengdu. They only commit the Graviton Surge into that fight. Now, Guardians do have tools coming into this fight. They're going to have their own Kitsune Rush up against a 3-pack of ultimates here for Chengdu Guardians. So it's all about portioning it the right way, and you're good to go.
And hey, you need to be cautious of Senna. Like, look at them. Valiant Guardians, you don't peek that. Senna has won these fights for Chengdu so many times over just by finding somebody's head, and you don't want that to happen right now. And even gets the shot in back onto herself. And what do you do? What do you do right now if you're the Valiant Guardians? You use this Kitsune Rush to the absolute max and hope that Chengdu decide not to pull this Blade and Sound Barrier out. But I mean, hey, the Sound Barrier without a tank, that is a situation you will go ahead and take. And, you know, Chengdu Guardians, for the first time, they're starting to struggle more in this resource battle. Valiant Guardians, they got the control, but can they hang on?
Well, I mean, it's a good start. I mean, I think they'll get at least a 40% here. They're going to have a sound barrier, which is going to be the big kicker here going into this fight. And I mean, X10 has built up blades pretty fast. So do we see them get a blade to answer Peace's blade?
I mean, Peace, if we know anything, Peace likes to full send it. There is no S key bound to Peace's keyboard. It is only the W's because they get their team the W's. And with his blade first and shutting down X10, there is no blade in competition. That is not a question. Peace walks in. Peace shreds through this team.
Wow.
But not if they line up perfectly for Wisp with the overclock. Chengdu Guardians, that was their golden ticket to victory, but Wisp is making it longer.
Oh my lord! I mean, Wisp goes absolutely ham into that grab from Moving Fish, exactly what they needed. I mean, now it starts. Now it starts the comeback here, and they'll take this sub map. Chengdu should be smart enough not to try and recontest here, but I think they're going to try it.
I mean, I guess you can go for it. There's still a very good chance that they can come out and win this. It's just the difference of the Dragon Blade here. X10 needs to pull it out, have the sound barrier in place on the other side, but X10 didn't get that extra boost of damage. Doesn't matter, though. It has already been decided. Valiant Guardians are keeping themselves alive. They grabbed 1 flashpoint, but they need 2 more to come back.
Graviton Surge into this next fight with possible Senna overclock into the middle of it. We saw how good that wombo combo was for Moving Fish and Wisp. That is the first, though, here for Valiant Guardians. The reverse sweep here in Flashpoint starts now. They are going to have their own Kitsune Rush to be able to defend up against said Graviton Surge here from Chengdu Guardians. And now we're at Palace. This is where I think that we're going to have a problem. You don't have much on the flanks. And, I mean, if Peace goes down here, that's going to be lights over.
It's the first time I've actually seen Peace back off in a type of situation that you had to, so thank you for doing that. This Chengdu Guardians now have a chance to continue pumping in that Graviton Surge with its only Moving Fish in. That is an easy single elimination. That's all you need to do, but Senna wants to be the overachiever today, apparently, and do all the work for her team, and I mean, this is just brutal from the Chengdu Guardians.
Now, the good thing here for Valiant is that fight was so extended that only now is the progress ticking up. The problem is that they're running into a sound barrier, and Moving Fish is close, but not close enough probably for a Graviton Surge to really make a big difference in this fight. So it's going to have to be won in the neutral.
This is going to be one of those fights that, I mean, even in the neutral that we've seen, the Chengdu Guardians have been better than that, simply because of the way Kindred has been playing. That's really all you need to do, and if Peace keeps doing what they've been doing all game long, these neutral fights easily go the way of Chengdu. There isn't a doubt about it. Where are Valiant Guardians right now? They're still in the poke phase of this, and they get 2 off of it. That's it.
Yep, I mean 2. They're trying to get out. That's it. That's it right there.
They can't even get back,
gonna be the
can
map. No, they shouldn't be able to. At least I think maybe with a dash and the slide movement might be able to get them onto the point. You've got an overclock to deal with here. That'll get by a little bit of a time, but I don't even know if they can touch on, to be quite honest.
I mean, it's only X10. I mean, yeah, you're going to get the dash in onto the point, but can they stay alive? Absolutely not with all of the pressure. I mean, Valiant Guardians, they don't have the tools to win this one out. Chengdu Guardians got everything in the bank, and this is about to be the upset that none of us saw coming at all. Chengdu Guardians changed their name, hoped that they can embrace some of the former glory that was the Valiant, and they did just that. Guaranteed a top 4 spot.
I mean, we're seeing Guardian Diff, Guardian Gap in the chat there. Lots of quote unquote love here. Senna just showed us who the hell is in my game right now. And who do you think you are? I mean, just got all the work done, all the kills. You said they were the overachiever. Well, they have now become my MVP for the day. Holy crap! Yeah, no questions, no comments. I'm giving the 5-star of the day there for Senna. Got a lot of those opening picks. Not only when we were in Busan. I mean, they were hitting these charged rail shots pretty frighteningly well all afternoon. Mm-hmm. So just the massive pop-off that happened here on Suravasa, absolutely deserving. That's my MVP for this match.
She went actually absolutely crazy. And I think it's the funny thing about Senna, too, is that you'll see games where she knows that she's having a hard time. And it's maps like that where she just can't get back up on her feet. But as soon as you head into a new game, fresh start, you clean the slate over, and she does things like that, Billy. This is why you have Senna on your team. This is why I never count out Chengdu Guardians, because I know that they have Senna. I know that they have her just waiting for that moment to strike. There it is.
Kindred,
you take out the top team.
Yeah, Kindred actually scary. I mean, I remember watching them in Collegiate. I remember watching them in Contenders. Kindred, they are scary. And Zarya is the signature tank for them. So, wow. Now, if we're looking at it from the Valiant Guardians, I mean, what do you do now? You'll probably have an easy time down in the lower bracket. But you're probably going to be facing either a Vancouver Titans Blue or a now Chengdu Guardians, who have suddenly popped up onto my radar as, holy crap, this is a great team. And I mean, they stuck to their guns. That's the other thing. They stuck to their guns. Little changes here and there when it required, but for the most part, they kept their identity throughout this entire series, and that's why they take the 2-1 win.
They didn't have to change it. There's no reason that the Valiant Guardians gave to the Chengdu Guardians that they had to change anything at all. Yeah. Well, it's seriously as simple as that. Kindred was allowed to play her best game on the Zarya. Might have never seen it before. I want to see that all the time now. I have high expectations for this team. They're guaranteed the spot in a top 4 and in the winners finals. And like you said, Valiant Guardians, I do not think is the last we're going to see of them whatsoever through the losers bracket. I believe that they are a team that has the potential to push it further. And, we get to follow that journey a little bit longer today. We still have one more match coming up for you on the stream to get closer to guarantee those final positions. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you for game number 4.
Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yours.
And welcome back for the fourth and final time today. Wow, we have a bunch of the Kunoichi Kerfuffle games be played out. We've determined our top 3 teams for the EU bracket. It's about time to get to those final squads on the NA side of things. We have Fable taking on Yippee Kari in the lower bracket matchup. One of these teams will be going home empty-handed, whereas the other is going to continue to hope to fight on for the prize.
Well, Yippee Kari is the project of my good friend Ocean. This is Ocean's team, and I've heard lots of good things about this team. So Fable, we didn't see a lot of adaptation going on earlier, so we're gonna need to see if that's gonna come out here in this lower bracket elimination game. And for Yippee Kari, I mean, we'll see what they got coming out the gate. We haven't had a chance to put eyes on them yet, even though Ocean said that this is a very fun team, and I will see how it comes out. So we've got Antarctic Peninsula as our first
fun.
map here. Yay, something different. Well, we'll see how these two teams decide to address the frozen wasteland of Antarctica.
I mean, hey, don't get me wrong, Busan's pretty chill, but hey, we wanted a fun game mode. Here you go. Antarctic Peninsula, shaking it up a bit. I'm totally here for it as well. And I think the selection, I believe it was Fables, if I'm not mistaken, plays out pretty well. God, the way that they have been approaching things. Fable liked that Junker Queen comp, and they liked only that Junker Queen comp. A big difference that we saw earlier too, Billy, is that while we were playing, a lot of these teams had to make substitutions because they were down players still participating in collegiate matches that have been going on all day today. So that is beginning to get wrapped up. So we got to see Dear Girl in on the tank, the Junker Queen. Yeah, it looks solid, but we only saw the Junker Queen, which was a big problem coming in. And now Fable have Avery fresh off of playing Bellevue's collegiate matches earlier today to come into the tank.
We'll see. We'll see how this is going to go out. We do have the Zarya coming out here from Terra. So, I mean, Sunshine is a damn good DPS as well. So this might be a bit of a struggle here for Fable. We'll see how we deal with this. It's all going to be about the aggression and then Avery being able to hold the line. So we do have a change there. We don't have Dear Girl here. Avery, their main person on tank, is a Garchomp getting the work done.
Garchomp slices through Reese's and Yippee Kari, taking an early shot down, and they don't exactly have the control of that height that they wanted to see. They're playing on this objective in the Immortality field. Kayla laid down for Terra, which, yes, that keeps her alive. And, you know, you got to look to players like Sunshine to start winning these 1v1s and not allow herself to be walked upon. I mean, Fable have been struggling to get themselves back on the point. And even if they've been here all along, Yippee Kari been in control of the objective.
Well, I mean, this is going to be a battle of wills here. Even though Yippee Kari does have control, we're going to have Grab online as well. So I mean, as long as it doesn't get deflected, that they're in good shape, and they're in really good shape. Well, the sound barrier comes out, keeps them up.
That is such a quick sound barrier. I mean, that takes forever to build up. The fact that Gloomy got it up before Terra's Graviton Surge is just ridiculous, and that alone wins Fable the fight.
Well, I mean, we've gotten another 20% on the board, though, and they're still holding on to things here. They're getting kills as well. This will be the flip, but it's going to be a 4v whatever situation here for the next couple of seconds. And Sunshine going low.
Ooh.
Oh, boy. That is a nasty stagger coming out, especially with both DPS ultimates ready to go in this fight. Mitsuji is going to have to be pretty damn accurate and pretty cagey with how they deploy this immortality barrier.
It's been decent so far, but the problem is it comes out so early, and Yippee Kari have been winning just that small cooldown battle, which is something that gives them a significant advantage when they eventually end up pushing forwards later on. And it's ever important in situations where the Dragon Blade is popped out and has to keep players alive, but Arya and Garchomp fighting back from Fable, shutting it down. Anything Yippee Kari thought they had going.
That was dirty. That was a great answer, blade for blade. And I think that the real kicker into that was the fact that Arya did drop their overclock and got the work done. Now they didn't even use they have the window ready to go. It's going to be a battle of windows. It's going to be a sound barrier difference for Yippee Kari as they attack and approach the point.
Yippee Kari, that's all you really have to work with, along with Kayla's Amp Matrix on the high ground. So, I mean, Fable They're gonna back around the side, but I mean, still being in control of the objective, surpassing what Yippee was able to establish early. I mean, this is a lot for them to deal with. The issue is, how do they handle the Bastion from Sunshine? And it is by waiting around the corner, forcing her to play straight into the sights of a double damage Itsuji, setting up these eliminations nicely for Fable to continue to close this one out. Even if they ended up losing Gloomy, they'll be fine.
Oh, I mean, Avery has taken over. They've figured out the rotation of these bubbles. They figured out how to deal with everything. Garchomp is in a serious amount of trouble here. It's going to go down. That's actually a nasty stagger at 94%.
Can they get a touch, though? Who from Yippee is going to be able to get there? I mean, ideally, Unlucky Main, and actually, it's Reese's Pieces, so you do have an overtime timer that's going to stick down, but it's a relatively staggered fight. They've managed to get through the tricky part, but you need to start looking at these ultimates, Billy. I see Gloomy, another sound barrier in sights. If that comes up before Terra's Graviton Surge, this is something that Fable potentially can be okay to just win another fight and go another day, but the sound barrier comes out very early. They don't even want the Graviton Surge to have a chance to make an appearance, but here's the problem. You waited too long. The sound barrier, you jumped to the gun, couldn't get the same amount of value, and just like that, it's a fight that they get off the no. This did not happen, Billy. No, it happened.
That's it. Oh, have a good night, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and leave my cast now. I hope that you enjoy the rest of this matchup.
Whoa.
What the heck? 2
Come
days in a
on.
row. You were winning the fight, and you get off the point to pursue kills.
Oh.
This is an objective-based map type. You have to be on the point. Good Lord. Well, I mean, Fable, they get away with one there. They were losing that fight, and man, now it makes Gloomy Sound Barrier look even better.
Oh my. I mean, I was full on, like, calling Gloomy out. I'm like, you just didn't get the value of it. You needed to. But Fable, they rushed forward so far that Yippee forgot that, oh yeah, we just don't need eliminations. Well, forget about that. The point, no, you don't do that. You don't do that. And I mean, this map specifically is very strange with the way that the point plays. It's on the low ground, and ideally, you don't want to fight on the point at any time. So, Fable, they're trying to get the rush out with the Lucio and the commanding shout, and Ipikari pulls a full banana split, and that's honestly easier for Fable because they can divide and conquer when it comes to these targeting, which ideally, Sunshine and Kayla are the least mobile ones on the team, and ideally, the first two to fall.
Well, I mean, this is just brutal. This is brutal. I mean, you do lose Garchomp on the approach, and I mean, Reese's Feces getting the work done. But this is going to be early progress here for Fable. Look at Gloomy, though. Almost 60% towards Sound Barrier. Unlucky Main, same. 65% and ticking up. So, I mean, the Battle of the Lucios right now is where we need to kind of look in. That's a great knife there from Avery. Almost pulls him out of position.
Fable are dangerous right now, especially when Yippee have to walk into them. Terra is only at 30% of a Graviton Surge charge throughout all of this. That is not a lot. Terra has not gotten close to what Fable has been doing. And I mean, Avery's going to build up to this Rampage quite easily, and at least the Sound Barrier is going to the favor of Yippee Unlucky Main easily coming out on top of that battle, which is going to be enough for them, at least I hope, for them to manage to get some sustain, to actually focus onto elimination. They're split. They're almost chasing Fable around the map if you look at it, and Avery is happy to meet them. There's that Sound Barrier that we were talking about. Wins the race, but Gloomy nearing one of their own by the time it comes out. It's absolutely immediate with the action. Avery knows that that is what is needed. All of the pressure going in onto the tank, but can't get the elimination. It gets canceled out of the Rampage. That one is gonna hurt. Avery's gonna be kicking themselves for it, and Yippee gonna get in control.
I mean, they try to go into a windowed position there with all that damage coming through. Tried to let loose with the Rampage. They lose the ultimate, and now it's back to the building blocks. You do have window coming up for Hitsuje, though. And the overclock from Arya could be the kicker to turn this one over. Sunshine's probably going to have something to say about it. It's all about rotation now and seeing if you can land Gracie and pull somebody in.
I mean, that is if you can just not get pulled in yourself, which Avery very much stuck in a sticky situation with Sunshine in their crosshairs. Yippee committing that Graviton Surge at a great point, and you know that ult rotation that you had from the Lucio Sound Barrier just a bit off, so basically free fight win.
Well, I mean, you do hold on to the window, so that's a good part there. The Blade, though, we'll see how they deal with this, because they don't have anything to deal with it other than that immortality barrier. It is pretty flimsy up against a blade.
I mean, honestly, Garchomp has been having a rough time on the Genji getting close, or at least Genji players playing into Zarya. Like, you need to stay as far away from them as possible, which was Garchomp is doing. Finds the players that are low. Beautiful immortality field placement to keep their star player alive in the moments they need it the most. And Fable used the limited resources that they had to put it into something great.
I like it. I like it. It was a clean fight. It was a very inexpensive fight. 2 ultimates into it, and you build up so much more on the back of using that amp matrix. And now you're going to have double support ultimates coming up for Yippee Kari. I mean, taking down the DPS so early in that fight from Yippee Kari. I mean, look at the ultimate. Look at the ultimate rotation. We've actually seen Arya surpass Sunshine.
Somehow, some way, Arya is coming back up in this ultimate charge, and a lot of us do. Fable, they have the high ground. Yippee Kari automatically going to take more of that poke damage when it all comes down to it, but they're not getting the eliminations as a result. They're just taking chip, and both of the supports falling out from underneath Fable. Gonna have to settle for this 99% and come back with at least not worrying about the window.
Well, I mean, you don't have to worry about the window, but you're going to have to worry about the sound barrier and a blade coming through. Arya almost has another overclock, but Sunshine has not only closed the gap, but actually surpassed here into this final, what's going to be our final fight of this sub-map. And I mean, Avery might be the one that can turn everything around with a well-placed rampage that doesn't get canceled.
Yeah, Avery, please get a rampage off this time. I beg of you. I mean, even if the sound barrier goes off and you can't do much with it, that's fine. Just hit somebody with the ultimate and don't die while you use it. Please and thank you very much. I mean, this is their last chance to make something happen. But Reese's Pieces, but it's really low here. Barely managed to get healed up, and it's the sound barrier every single Q. Pressed for Yippee Kari, whereas Fable holding on to that dagger to the heart. It's Avery on the
that's huge.
That's what we needed to see, Billy. We were missing it last round. It delivers here now in the time that Fable needed to turn the point. No, point. Thank you very much, Billy. We needed the reminder. I also needed it because I would have been extremely upset had Fable done the exact same thing that got them the first map. No matter how it happened, they're going to take this first win. And I mean, there's just so much difference from the last time we saw this team.
My stomach is in knots right now because I thought there was gonna be a C9. Honestly, I thought there was gonna be a C9 because nobody was paying attention to the point. There was 2 members locked up in the grav from Terra, and I mean that would have actually been really nice. So Arya and Garchomp getting it done, but Reese's on the other side for Yippee Kari. They are a scary Genji. Let me tell you right now, they are putting on some damn good work here for Yippee Kari. Terra, I mean, that is a great tank. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah. Really withstanding a lot of what Avery was dishing at them. I mean, this is a former contenders player, high level collegiate player, and going up against Terra, and Terra is standing their ground just fine. So, I mean, this has all the hallmarks of being another Gigabanger.
It honestly does. Even if that match did go 2-0, I mean, Yippee Kari should have won round number 1. We should be at a round number 3 in Icebreaker, but
yes,
shoulda, coulda, woulda, and we'll have to revisit that at another point in time. And Hybrid in itself, I think it's going to be a map where we might see some stuff change up. Yippee Kari do have the potential to mess things around. We've seen a lot of these teams go for King's Row. They like that comfort of more of the brawl style. And I mean, Yippee Kari seem to be doing the same thing. Terra, like you said, doing an excellent job. Avery is a top tier tank player, especially when it comes to the collegiate end, of course, these tournaments as well. So, I mean, the fact that you're holding your own on the Zarya, like there aren't any blaring red flags that are hitting me in the face. The only critique that I have, the difference that I've been seeing is in the rotations that have been made. Fable constantly moving around. They're within their Lucio speed boost. They're using that commanding shout to its absolute fullest value. Those 2 things alone have been catching Yippee Kari just enough of a back foot for them to lose these battles.
I mean, looking at what we saw from both sides for the Baptiste as well, I think the immortality barriers were perfect from both sides.
Yeah.
It's just the overwhelming damage that comes on the back of it is where I think that there's a little bit of a difference. I think that we're seeing Fable really be able to use the amp speed to disengage for not only from when that pressure does come in and the immortality barrier does go down, but they also disengage from the window fights as well. We saw one peak that didn't get a kill, almost took Arya's head off, but they were smart enough to be able to get out of the range of that effect. And well, that's where we're sitting at right now, 1-0 to the Fable team. And like I said, they're looking completely different. We're going to go to Hollywood for this next map. So this is the scene of where Fabled had a really, really crappy time earlier today. They were not able. They were not able to take high ground whatsoever off of VTB. So this is time for redemption. They've got a 1-0 lead, something we haven't seen from them also before. Yippee I'm expecting to see possibly a change off of the Zarya. I think that bringing the Orisa here, especially going into a Junker Queen, you win that matchup a lot more times than you do if you're playing a Zarya into the Junker Queen. So we'll see how these two teams decide that they're going to match each other up.
Even in that regard, but I think the interesting part is I wonder I wonder if VP was watching this the last time that Fable played on Hollywood and we're like, oh, this is where we want to take this team. I mean, that was something.
It was definitely a round. It was definitely a round of Overwatch.
It was a round of Overwatch that we've seen played in this tournament, and I mean, Fable just couldn't get things going on the attack of their own. Granted, you have Avery in now, who does seem to want to change things up. You have Ramsu on the Genji as a substitute too. So, I mean, maybe we're moving some things around to make this happen, but I think the main point of focus here has to be on Yippee. I mean, they're the ones that selected this map and clearly have the high ground. They have the confidence that they can control whatever Fable has to throw at them.
We've had a request from Avery to look at their skin, so we're going to go inside and take a peek.
All right, let's do this. What are we doing?
Oh,
that is so cute. I wish we played Kiriko. That is like my favorite skin in the whole game, and like we're so friendly. We got the hearts coming out. Oh, just a wholesome moment.
We also have a very slightly low health Genji there. Bubbles out early.
Yeah, Bubbles immediately popped out, and that's the hardest part with playing Zarya here. It's the good Zaryas that have this management with it. And like Terra already had to use the immortality field. Ramsu took out the main support, and with the limited amount of charge and health that this player has, it's not going to go well at all.
Just the stinginess there from Hitsuji to hold that immortality barrier till the very last second wins them that fight. Because Avery was going absolutely nutso. As soon as we saw Reese's get taken out, that was the go point for Fable. And I mean, look at how quickly they take this point. This is a complete turnaround from what we saw earlier. Now that we've got Avery, and Avery, Avery we trust.
Avery, but Ramsu as well, being a new substitute coming in on the Genji. I've been very impressed with what I've seen so far. This guy had so much impact on the previous fight, and clearly is not done yet. I mean, what you need to do here, the last thing that Fable struggled with, contesting the high ground. Ramsu, at least keeping them occupied right now. Those 3 players crosshairs onto them instead of the rest of their team. That just gives you so much time and space to work with, where Terra and Kayla are already forcing out the immortality field.
This has got to be a disengage from Fable, though, because you do lose Avery. You don't have the bubble protection. Yeah, they need to get out right now, especially with how high charged that Terra is. This is a Zarya diff right now in this fight. But we're going to have the re-engage coming in from Avery. You've got the window to work with.
You have a lot of tools to pull up. I mean, Terra, you can't just be losing players like that immediately after you get one back. Like, you can't allow these Stargers to come through. You commit the ultimates into it. I mean, the fact that Ramsu pulled Blade, Fable, that was just a fight you're going to lose, and now you just don't have the Blade to work with.
I mean, it was hopeful at best.
Yeah.
And, you know, do we see a change? I don't think we do. Because the work that's been getting done by Ramsu has been pretty impressive. Getting up there, getting the dash through, putting up so much damage, forcing cooldowns out of the high ground. But once again, Fable is just not able to get the high ground.
No, and there isn't a need to right now, because the only one up there is Sunshine, but when Sunshine is the one with the ultimate and an amplification matrix, okay, that's a concern you need to look at, but, I mean, Fable could care less about that. They have the amp matrix of their own, rushed through the remainder of the team on the low ground and created significant progress.
They had lines of sight better covered there. Fable did that time. Now they get the very highly treasured high ground here. And they've got an overclock to work with as well. So, I mean, they devalue Sunshines and now have their own to work with.
this is just such a turnaround for for Fable. They're now the ones on the high ground and all these sight lines too. And Fable, all they can do is sit down, hold on, and just pray.
Oh my God!
And Gloomy can make it happen, but with all those resources gone, Reese has no problem just pulling it out. Fable were so focused on the Graviton Surge, they completely ignored Yippee Genji player.
Well, I mean, that's a 4K. That's a 3K, and then Sunshine, the other DPS, gets the other two on the back of it. So now we've got stabilization. Avery going over to a signature. Oh, my lord. I have not seen a Winston in so long. Winton Overwatch is back.
Winton. This is what we're talking about. I mean, we got to see Winton for such a long time. And honestly, I don't hate it. As long as you don't get blown up, I don't hate it. This is a good way to force out these bubbles, add additional pressure to the high ground to get Arya and Jitsu in decent spots for them to be able to succeed. I mean, look at that. Fable, immediately they took the space away. Yippee don't have a point to necessarily contest it.
Already 53% towards Primal. Ramsu is getting burned, but they're going to have a blade coming up.
And that's really all you need. I mean, Arya popping her ultimate first, looking for players, daring them to peek into their crosshairs. Sunshine, you're playing with risky territory here. She's gonna manage to get away. Arya got really aggressive, should have gone down somehow, some way. Slides out to safety, and I mean, as good as this looked for Fable, this is their fight to win, and they're struggling to do so. The blade came up with nothing. At least you get one from Ramsu, but Yippee, they're not done with this yet. They started to take a breath of relief after they snagged Gloomy from the backlands, and they did that way too soon. Avery's still alive and healthy already as a Primal Rage, mind you. It's been one fight. Look at the mechanics that they have right now. They're just throwing these players up for Ramsu to slice and dice. A triple kill for them, but the impact highly favored to the tank.
I mean, they had an opportunity, maybe like a 2-second opportunity to be able to take Avery down before they were able to pop that out. And well, I mean, this swap over to the Brigida from Gloomy as well. Absolutely perfect timing.
The Brigida helps with so many different aspects in terms of the healing and, of course, keeping your Ana player alive. I mean, Hijitsu has a nano, has not died yet, mind you, with all of the pressure that has been applied. I mean, Reese's Feast has made that their prime target to go after, and I mean, Fable, they're continuing the rampant run forwards. You got the nano boost onto it, all the attention to the high ground. You can't forget about Arya. This team is playing split. They're allowing the rest to go in just for a final player to wait for these players to be forced into a spot that they can shoot down. I mean, this is perfect from Fable. Such a change from the match we saw them against VTB now. And Yippee needed to weather the storm. They need to find something to turn this around. And you have the ultimates to do so. You managed to get two, but Reese's Feast still in your back line. Fable finally get to close it out and take a bit of a breath to reset.
I mean, I think everybody gets a chance to breathe there because that was pretty chaotic. 2 minutes as we're, have gotten around the first corner. They've brought Reese's out onto the Reaper now. So there's going to be a little bit of extra mobility, a little bit of extra burst power coming down. And you're still dealing with the Sunshine Overclock that should come out in the next full engagement.
Yep, that is all you need right now. And if you put that in with Terra's Graviton Surge, it could be something. But Sunshine is coming out towards the end. It ain't all sunshine and rainbows when you have this Sojourn player in your back line. I mean, she's still going. She still sees Arya pulling towards the back. And, I mean, it's Yippee. They're dealing this two-handed punch. And goodbye, Fable.
I mean, you're just getting the charge up there on the rails. Yeah, I mean, that's a minute. That's 40 seconds taken off from the last time we checked. You're looking at a sound barrier here for Yippee. Both DPS ultimates ready to go. I'd be punching the wall too. It's been a little bit brutal here coming into the studio. And Avery over to the Junker Queen, going in their face now.
I mean, Avery not looking terrible on the Winston, but this Junker Queen is easily their comfort pick, and that comboed up with the commanding shout. I mean, that kept a lot of players alive. It got a lot of health out, and even the sound barrier had to be pulled for Yippee, and now, that's Ramsu. Free blade, they say, free blade to work with, and it's just this resource game. It's a game of chicken. Who pulls all the valuables first? This time, it was Yippee, so Fable had the advantage at the end.
I mean, you're going to have the Junker Queen ultimate coming up too. I mean, the Rampage should be coming up here within this next 30 seconds at least. Oh, what a kill from Ramsu! Knew it was coming!
Well, perhaps the prediction onto that is a huge start for Fable, and they want to close this out, and they very well can, even with a
Wow.
couple seconds on the clock to do so. I mean, Hollywood, not an easy map to complete, and Fable leaped over the hump that we saw from them earlier to get this full completion.
That last kill after the timer or after they completed that felt personal. From
did.
Avery on to Sunshine. I mean, look at our damage numbers here. Just absolutely
jeez.
disgusting. Coming out from Avery, 8,000 just in the attack phase alone. That is some serious work being done by your tank, and a lot of it was done when they went over to the Winston. And I mean, I remember seeing the Avery Winston back in Collegiate and Contenders days. Has a fantastic Winston. So, I mean, the versatility, once again, we see the versatility that we did not see earlier today, Tiny, and that's the big difference right now is that you're seeing adaptations on the fly, and they're not afraid to switch it up. And I like this. And I also like the fact that I'm seeing Arya coming out on the Ashe right now, because high ground control, ability to reposition. Ramzu, once again, is going to be completely mobile. I mean, you have so many moving parts right here for Fable, and the fact that we're bringing out the Southern Bale. As always, I love Ashe here on points A and B because of the ability to get up. So Yippee have their work cut out for them as they make their approach.
Yippee right now, you're walking into a Fable team who is just on another level of coordination right now. I mean, you're changing it up with the Ashe a little bit too. Great way to deal that significant damage from a faraway point. And I mean, Yippee you need to start locking in. You need to find that focus that you had previously, because you are a very solid team. There is no doubt about it. And all it really comes down to is Fable looking better in just a tiny few areas that you can come back and prove it here on your attack. But it needs to start with that engage point, getting the players off the high ground, both the DPS sliding on in. There's the immortality field. It brought time to regroup, but the attention away from Arya. Sunshine grabbing that first elimination. Yippee knew what the task was, and they're starting to accomplish it.
What you're saying is they understood the assignment. Okay,
yes,
got it.
Why did I say that? Dang it!
This is good. That's what you got me here for. I mean, seriously, like they were a little bit passive. They didn't take aggressive positioning coming in here. And I mean, there's going to be a recontest. You've got the commanding shout, but they go down in a heap.
Ooh, they're starting to lose more of these players. I mean, Fable, they hung around for a lot longer than they probably should have, to be totally honest with you. But yeah, you're going to give up this point, and even the ult charge with it. I mean, look at the difference between these teams right now.
I mean, Sunshine getting some work done.
Oh, yeah.
So is Reese's. But I mean, Ramzu actually keeping pace with the opposition's Genji. The big difference right now that I'm seeing is in the Lucio. The amp speed, getting them into these these positions to win fights. That's exactly what you want from your Lucio player. They're playing this absolutely perfectly. We do see Arya swapping over to the Sojourn, so they're looking for this disruptor field to be able to hold some spaces.
That plus a much easier way to get to that high ground. I mean, as the Ashe, that cooldown on the coach gun is so far. It's not as much mobility, and you saw that with how quickly she got dove on. She wants to prevent that from happening, and of course, use this utility that the Baptiste is putting out for her. Yippee up losing their Lucio player and Fable. Need to get some sort of gain. Like, this is why you put Arya on the Sojourn. She can hit these shots. I mean, already 70% to her ultimate. This is crazy. Granted, she doesn't have it. Sunshine, on the other hand, will have that at her control, and getting that back, just enough for them to go through.
Arya,
what in the world?
That's a great kill. That's a great kill. I mean, it gets you to 91%, so
Sojourn
they will definitely have the overclock into the next fight. They're also going to have a sound barrier. So sound barrier for sound barrier. We're looking at window ready to go for Hitsuji. As long as they can reestablish high ground control here and be able to drop on their own terms, that's going to be the best way for them to slow this roll right now.
There's a lot of, like what you said, it's the tempo control that Yippee have, is they're taking these fights when they want to do so, and Fable automatically forced to play reactive, and I mean, Reese's Pieces initiates with the blade, you get the Baptiste, that's exactly what we're talking about, is you just lose these players because Yippee they act first, they have control of what happens from here on out, and Fable haven't recovered.
They haven't really made a solid 5-person fight here. No. It's been all individual skirmishes, or 3v2 skirmishes on the fringes, and it's because Terra's playing so damn aggressive, especially with these amp speeds coming in from Unlucky Main. They did get that out. There is the sound barrier. It needs to come out now.
The sound barrier is there. The hope was not to get that onto Avery, but it hits onto Avery as well as Ramsu. Happy to slice and dice. You have 5 ultimates from Fable. This is a fight you should be winning, and they will do that with only 2 of their ultimates. I do admire the discipline there.
The fact that you still have window allows you to reestablish high ground control once again, and that has to be something that they need to be looking at to take care of right now, which is exactly what they're getting. So we've got them up on high ground. We're going to have the rampage be able to go out at your will, and then you're also going to be able to put in this rampage. The rampage is what I think is going to be the kicker because they don't have Suzu to cleanse.
No, but Suzu isn't there, and like, what do you even do? I mean, this is essentially a free ultimate. The immortality field, sure, it looks cool, but it's not going to do
my God,
nearly as
Arya.
much. And I mean, Arya is still on fire from when this point previously started. You don't jump into her sightlines at all. You will be sent down to an early grave. I mean, she's been on point ever since she's come back on the Sojourn.
3 ultimate fight though, so very expensive
Yeah.
for Fable. They do win it in the end. And I mean, I think that you could have gotten it done with just the window, honestly. The Rampage guarantees it, but the overclock was overkill, in my humble opinion. But we're going to see the overclock come out from Sunshine. Sunshine has been on one today, too.
Okay, Sunshine has been going absolutely crazy. I mean, she's lighting up this twilight sky of Hollywood that they're playing with right now. I mean, this is the tool that ideally could get you over the bridge, but
Great
it's almost
immortality.
some pop shots onto the tank. The immortality was beautiful, and I mean, Yippee they don't get anything from that. They do force the drop onto the payload, though. That is a key point. You don't have to contest the objective. You move up, take these fights on your own terms, and it's Sunshine to start to turn it around. Look how low Ramsu is. Has to try to get out of there. Sunshine gets them just low enough for Yippee to push on through. Fable, they had the advantage there. They looked good when it all started, but when the dust settles, Yippee get the second point.
But they build out in this street space. They take 4 minutes off the clock. So job done. Yes, you lose the penultimate fight there, but you pull so many resources out. You pull so many of the cooldowns out. It's going to take time for that to cycle back through, and you're looking at a Ramsu blade coming up very shortly, and an early sound barrier could be the kicker here. Tara, 10% away, though, from this grab. They might be able to turn the fight in their own favor.
I mean, the sound barrier usage is so key for this series because there's so many different spots that you can use it in, whether it's for the Graviton Surge, the Dragon Blades, and sometimes even the Overclocks. Like, you need to know when you want to use it, and even for a loss of a player, Avery, get Sunshine out. But if you're on the attack here, you're this close to spawns, you can afford to get a regroup.
All right, so I mean, we're at 150 on the clock. You're looking
Yep.
at 3 ultimates just about for Yippee. The window battle is going to be important. When we let loose with these sound barriers, that's going to be important. And then the blade. The blade is where we're really looking at a big advantage here for Fable. I think that you go with an early blade here. You pull the resources out, and then you go tack in on the back.
That's all you need to do. You don't use all of these resources at the exact same time. Force everything out of your opponent's
Whoa.
first. There's the terrace. I'm not sure about that one, but okay. Avery, Rampage is out. The pressure is on. They followed Avery all the way through. That was aggressive. The positioning that they end up taking, and they're committing their ults into it. They still feel like it's a fight, and they can come out on top. Ramsu, though, missed so many slices onto the Baptiste. I mean, yeah, you're gonna die for that one, and now Fable, here they are, down in resource, and Sunshine wants to make sure they're in a world of hurt.
And a free grab to boot on top of it.
Wow.
The only answer that they've got right now is this window. Oh, no, you don't even get the window out.
No, that's it. That is it right there. Terra getting that Graviton Surge, securing those eliminations. Fable, they don't get another fight at all. I mean, maybe you can get a touch in, but with how closely these spawn doors are coming through, Yippee are keeping themselves in this series 23 seconds more than our opponents.
Well, this is going to come down to adaptability. And I think that... I mean, it'll be Fable coming out on the attack. And, I mean, just looking at it. I mean, look at that. 20,000 damage for Avery. Terra not too far behind on their own at 15-4. That is some serious work. But the big numbers that I'm looking at right now is between Hitsuji and Kayla. 12,900 for their Baptiste. 13-5 for Kayla for Yippee. That is a big difference right there. And I mean, even the Genji or the Lucio play there, unlucky main about 1,000 ahead of Gloomy. So I mean, it's pretty even there. I mean, Yippee Kari, they're getting the work done in such a team fashion
Yeah.
that it's really throwing Fable for a loop.
Yippee truly stepped it up. I said at the beginning of this round that if this team wants to succeed, I need to see the same level of synergy from them that Fable has showcased in map number 1, and that is exactly what they did. Only a minute. That's how long they have to defend this point for. If they can get a full hold on this, minute 23, sure, it's not a lot, but that's going to set you up nicely for a map number 3. Reminder, one of these teams will be eliminated here after this match concludes, and Yippee fighting to stay in.
I mean, the stakes could never have been any higher. And, I mean, Yippee Kari are fighting for their lives here, and they've got the 23-second advantage. So, I mean, how fast do you go into this? You're going to run with the mirror composition going in.
Yeah, you started out on the Zarya, Avery pulling that one out, and all back to that game of who can manage their bubbles better, or more specifically, keep their Genji in a good spot to succeed. It's been the battle of Rhesus and Ramsu as well.
Oh, God.
Just the way that these have been going, and whoo! Arya almost making Sunshine be in a whole lot of pain when it comes through, but it's Sunshine, the pop shot on the Ramsu mid-air, beautiful! And that right there, that forces Fable back. They only have 10 seconds.
I mean, they're going to have to go in recklessly to get any kind of a touch here. And it's going to have to be, you know, save your bubbles as best you can. Smoke them if you got them.
Oh. It's everything. It's everything right here. We're not going to see any ultimates except for potentially an amplification matrix, but if this goes the way it has, Arya already super low. The point must be contested. The immortality field has been unleashed, and Arya finally hit that devastating shot. Fable
my God,
found
he's
a little
okay.
bit of room to work. They managed to get it out. How in the world did Fable end up doing that?
Hitsuji just went absolutely effing ham right there, and hello, that is going to be the first point taken. They're also going to have the window and possibly this Graviton Surge almost 40% ahead for Avery in that generation. They trusted in their supports. They were stingy with that immortality barrier. Once again, Tiny, we talked about it earlier. They absolutely hold on to it. Now you've got a 60 charge Zarya. Oh, this is dirty.
This is gross. You need to be winning this fight right now, Yippee. This is their chance. They put down the immortality field. Oh, but Avery, the Graviton Surge hits first and isolates Terra from their team. Avery running a mock right now, regardless of what Sunshine is doing with the overclock on the high ground here. It's just going to be another stagger going the way of Fable.
Every meter that they get completely negates this 23-second difference that we had between Yippee and what Fable started with their singular minute. Now they've got an Arya overclock. They've got a sound barrier to work with. They got the tools to at least get halfway through this point. It just depends on how we deal with this upcoming Graviton Surge from Terra and the Blade.
I mean, this is the tools. This is the fight that you need to be winning right now for Yippee. These are the most amount of tools. If you let this point go from here, it's done. You're not going to get another chance like this. It needs to hit its mark, and with the only thing you really have being to just get away from Arya. The sound barrier popped early. That is completely okay, but you have to realize that Reese's Feces is going to have a difficult job ahead of them. The sound barrier keeping everybody up for Fable. Still at ground zero, it's the Graviton Surge wanting to be the difference maker, but Terra ends up falling, not before the trades comes through. You don't have a tank though, and that one really, really harms any progress, any stall that you have on this field. These DPS made something happen, but the boop onto the low ground puts her back down. The sun has set, and Yip Fable are continuing their push forward. I mean, killing Unlucky Mate, all right. They get both of their support counterparts. That is something that they can turn this into. Something has suddenly turned into nothing for Avery. Graviton Surge almost in reach.
Oh my
Arya
God.
maintaining the cap on the high ground. This is intense, Billy. It is down to those final couple of seconds. I mean, the Graviton, it has to come out here. Has to come out now. Help Ramsu out. Give them that extra ounce of energy
No
to push
shots.
it in. Yippee Corey, they're falling down, and by some miracle, Fable pull through.
And they get to hold on to the Graviton Surge. This buys them even more meterage going on. That 23 seconds is gone. You're also looking at another window from Hitsuji. Absolutely playing out of their freaking mind right now. And Terra back onto their Zarya. I don't know what we can get done here. The ult rotation right now is in Fable's complete control.
like I said, that was Yipikar's best chance. They blew it. They blew it. That was their chance, and now you're facing so much from Fable. I mean, the Graviton Surge alone without the sound barrier to counter it out. I mean, what do you even do? There's the Immortality Field and hits onto everybody. It's just like shooting fish in a barrel for Fable. I mean, they're continuing to roll through. They want a second full cap, Billy, and at this rate, they might get it.
They are going to get it. They are going to get it because you're going to have the window did come out. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
The window came out, but you are going to have. Ooh, gosh. I mean, sound barrier available to Unlucky Main. You've got Sunshine close on an overclock, but Arya's actually passed them.
I mean, Arya's already up there, and the sound barrier really, really early from Yippee They were honestly jumped the gun on that one a little bit because now you need to worry about these other ultimates that Fable can pull out. The later sound barrier, often the one that finds greater value. Arya on the Sojourn, looking for the shots, looking for the one that's going to count, forcing these players to hide behind the payload of Reese's Feces, gets the most important kill. Hitsuji ends up going down, but Arya is still firing on all cylinders. Grab two, both the DPS have fallen. Fable, well, they don't necessarily have all the support. They have the players, they have the star power of Arya and Ramsu to pull them through and get them a second full capture on Hollywood.
And you know who really enabled that whole entire fight was Avery on the Zarya. The bubble management was absolutely exquisite. I'm salivating over this play right now. We're getting the best of the best right now. And we are in the lower bracket. Like, one of these teams has to go home after this. I don't want this series to end.
No, this is the closest map of Hollywood that I think I've ever seen in the game that I've casted, and that is a lot of Overwatch. We're comparing this to. I mean, getting a second completion on a minute, Billy. A single minute is what Fable had coming into this. They managed to pull it out by some crazy play from their entire team, and Yippee while they looked good, they had their moments, and I mean, Fable just wanted it more. They were desperate in this attack situation. They don't want to go home just yet, and Yippee sure, you got 23 more seconds than your opponent, but that bar has been set at such a high point that you are leaping, just hoping the tip of your fingers can hit it.
I mean, stranger things have happened.
True.
Stranger things have happened. And if Yippee really do pull the no you card on Fable here, they have the same exact composition. They have the same exact skill level of this Fable team. There was fights that Yippee should have won, and it took like a hero play, either from a right click from Avery or Arya hitting a charge rail shot. It's all going to come down to who gets the clutch factor in the end.
Ugh, I mean, you only have so much time. You only have so much time to work with, and I mean, the clutch factor, a lot of the times you'll look at like these ultimates specifically from Reese's or Sunshine, and I mean, even Terra in this sense, and Yippee they didn't have it on their own defense, and I feel pretty disheartened heading into this attack right now. This is not an easy task whatsoever, and you need to get a strong start, and losing Reese's not the way you wanted this one to go. Still plenty of time to back off, get a full reset.
Yeah, I mean, maintaining the charge right now for Terra is the most important thing that Yippee needs to be cognizant of, and landing these right clicks to build that Graviton Surge so much faster. I mean, look at the Lucio play, 10% apart for Unlucky Main and for Kayla. Kayla getting the work done, matching Hitsuji heal for heal. I don't know how this turns out because we had a really disconnected fight. It took one last fight for Fable to push it over the line. I think we're going to run the same situation here.
It's the overtime desperation that really starts to get to players and these teams, and Sunshine and Reese's got too desperate. They got way too far in without the proper support to come up. Fable, they put in the work. They wanted the full cap, and they're going to chop it off with the full hold here on Hollywood 2-0. I mean, what better way to set yourselves forward in this tournament?
I mean, my heart is like pounding right now. I'm so excited because of what we just witnessed. I mean, that was just fantastic. Arya absolutely deserves play of the game here. But I think the player of the match has to be Hitsuji on the Baptiste, absolutely keeping their team together in times that they had no business. I mean, look at the window placement alone. And then the immortality barrier that kept them all alive. I mean, you got to be like scared. If you're a DPS and tank player for Fable right now, because Hitsuji's like, you're fine. It's fine. I have this. you're going to be at like 2 health, but I'm going to go ahead and pop it at the very last second, and then you're going to be just fine. Then you're going to be thanking me later on, because that's exactly what happened. Is Hitsuji was so damn stingy, and it was, I mean, I call it stingy, patient. We'll call it patient with those immortality barriers. That's the big difference in this entire series, is how stingy Hitsuji was.
Seriously, this series was so ridiculously close. I mean, my voice hurts because I got too excited. I got too excited. Not even too excited. I don't think I can get enough excited to really showcase what happened in this past map. And this tournament makes me so happy. This game makes me so happy. Thank you, Fable and Yippee for making it as interesting as it was. And even if Yippee ended up going home for the NA bracket, they're still in the top 3 in the EU matchup. So not the last that we're going to be seeing of them at all. And I mean, Fable right now, they're back on track from what we saw earlier. Little bump in the road against VTB, and I mean, they're eventually, I believe it's going to put them up to a point where they could go against Valiant Guardians, a team that has been struggling to find themselves back. I mean, after a loss that they took, that doesn't feel good at all, and I mean, that is a match we're going to want to watch for sure.
Absolutely, and I mean, we won't be on it tomorrow.
No.
I'm doing EU. I'm doing the grand final EU tomorrow.
Yep.
For this, but then we got other commitments. You and I have other commitments, other places tomorrow. But, I mean, for the finishing up for tonight, I mean, we've seen some damn good play all day long. I mean, this has been a great tournament. The Kerfuffle is definitely kerfuffling. And for myself, for Tiny, and for Meilu and her entire production team, thank you all so much for watching us tonight. We're going to see you tomorrow bright and early. I think it starts at 5 p.m. BST, which is 11 o'clock Central, 12 o'clock on the East Coast. Love you guys. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.